Welcome into the firm of Harris and Meringue. Patrick Harris, yours truly with you. Danny Meringue has got the fever. He be home. The, the Rocky Mountain oyster fever? My buddy had something like that once. Absolutely crazy. Rocky Mountain. Oh, I'm not sure what it is now. Rocky Mountain fever. Rocky Mountain spotted fever.
Spotted fever.
Spotted fever. Casey Smith over there on the ones and twos hanging out with me today. As I just said on Dirt and Sprague with old Brandon there, I've decided that anybody now that is sick are just hiding the fact that they've got mud butt. Nobody wants to admit that. You never want to admit that it's coming out one end so rough that you can't do anything about it. Me, on the other hand, I'd probably just admit to it.
I'm very much if I got it, you'll know.
I'm pretty much just a dude that's like not sick. I just rarely get sick. Knock on wood. Let's try to be positive about this thing, but I just get lucky, and I ain't got 3 kids. The last time I was sick, I can remember, I did miss a day of a show here. Now, it was, I think, shortly after Chauncey Billups was arrested. I woke up that morning like ready to die. It was 5:15. I was getting ready to text the brand man and be like, yo, dude, I ain't making it in. And then my phone goes, bzz, FBI. And I was like, well, going to work today. You ever have those moments? Like whether I was 20, whether I was 22 and I was like, good God, I was up till 4 in the morning last night. I can't go to work today. You still made it to work. No, maybe
we prevail. We prevail.
I think we have to. Someone's got to do the heavy lifting around here. Rufio telling me Chauncey getting arrested is my flu game. I did watch a movie last night with the kids. A movie called GOAT. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
It is produced by Steph Curry. It is about this basketball league in Animal Land called Roar. And there's the bigs and the smalls are the animals in this world. And the bigs play Roar. And no small has ever played Roar in the history of the game. And this little goat named Will Harris, he's probably my distance cuz, becomes the first small to play in Roar. And he's voiced by one of the kids from Stranger Things.
Yeah, Caleb McLaughlin.
Yes. Guys, if I'm being honest with you, I'd save the 2 hours. It was a little
too cheesy for you?
I was a little disappointed. Is it
because of the Steph Curry natureness of it? Or is it just all of it?
I think it's all of it. I mean, the best player on planet Earth was this, panther, but she can't win the claw, which is the name for the chip. And then they play on courts that are, different environments. So there's, a lava one with rocks coming up or an ice one that the ice can break and you go in the water. I thought it was an okay concept. But
execution wasn't quite there?
Not quite there.
The cast looks ridiculous.
Oh, the cast is ridiculous, yeah. I think my kids enjoyed it, so that's a plus.
Jelly Roll, Gabrielle Union, Angel Reese is on here.
Patton Oswalt was in it. Yeah, it was okay.
You could do without?
I could do without.
You could do without.
I could do without, especially because we saw the Mario movie the other day, too, which, by the way, all ages, Mario slaps. The new one's great.
Yeah, I might gear my entire weekend around that and Timbers this weekend.
Yeah, I'll be there, too. Home game, though. I love a good home game. And this is what I always try to say. Timbers might lose by an egregious amount to LAFC this coming weekend. who put 6 on the board on Saturday. But, an afternoon game at Providence Park. What is it? What do we got? A 1:30 kick. Pregame coverage starts at 12:30 right here on the Fan, your home of the Portland Timbers. But Saturday, it's going to be raining and 60 degrees. That might not be fun. It will be for me. But raining at a Timbers game, I think is great. But then again, I am also not on the pitch playing. You will be here in the comfy confines.
If it gets cold, I'll just turn the heater on.
Yeah. Oh, that's a funny thing. It is kind of warm in here today. I never know what to do on these days, Because it's like I've got all the freedom in the world. I can do whatever I want. You want to talk baseball for 3 hours? We can talk baseball for 3 hours.
We can talk baseball.
You want to be in icebox in here? You want to be warm? I could probably eat in here and get away with it. And then I just end up still worrying about everybody else and trying to make sure that I don't screw it up. Nobody wants to hear about my baseball team, although I'm going to tell you about my baseball team right now. My baseball team is 6-4 against the Mariners, split, 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, and 2 of 3 from the Cubs. How you like them apples? Those are all division winners picked right here on this show.
Ain't too bad. Ain't too bad.
You know who else is division leader picked on this show? The Cleveland Guardians. Chase DeLauder. Catch the fever, baby. The Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever. Well, don't catch that. My buddy got it, and he said it was really, really rough.
Yeah, it doesn't sound... By the symptoms, they look horrendous.
A serious, potentially fatal bacterial infection transmitted by tick bites, primarily in the United States and Central South America. It makes sense, too, because my buddy is so terrified of ticks. Like, to the point where sometimes I'm like, dude, you are bald just like me. We're not getting ticks. Like, don't worry about it. And he's worried more than anybody. And dare I say, have I not had a tick in over a decade? Because I usually go with him. Ticks and bears. Oh, my. He's very conscientious about ticks and bears.
Do you feel like you have to check yourself for ticks often?
I don't. No, dude, I don't have hair anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and where I do have hair, I don't, expose. Like, I got hairy chest. But I don't think you need this dad bod without a shirt on.
All right.
So, yeah. I am a little worried. This year, usually we go out to Idaho and do some rafting. And that's where we're always worried about ticks and bears. Although the bears out there are more scared of us than we are of them. I'm going to take my dog this year, and I'm really worried about her getting ticks.
That's the one that you have to worry about because they're running through a bunch of fields, rolling themselves in a bunch of grass, and
do you know the
new environments?
Do you know the best way to get ticks out of your body?
Keep yourself environments where there aren't ticks.
That is one. Yes, abstinence is always the key to success. Number 2, to get them out of your body, you take a lighter and turn it upside down and heat the metal backside of it, and then you push that to your skin, and the heat will force the tick out of your skin.
So you just burn yourself?
Yes, sir.
You just have to burn yourself.
Yes, sir.
That does not sound
fire.
That sounds
have made fire.
Awful.
Yeah, dude. It's it's just the only way to do it.
It took me by surprise.
Putting cigarettes out on your arm.
Well, no, because you don't want. It's not just like fire. You have to dig it. Think about like a splinter. Okay, you get a splinter in your hand and you try to get something and just kind of push it forward a little bit. That's what you're doing with the lighter. I'll tell you what. You'll take the skin burn over Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever
any day of the week.
Any day of the week.
Any day.
Without prompt treatment, mortality can reach 20 to 30%. Damage to blood vessels can lead to severe issues, including pneumonia, brain damage, kidney failure, and rare severe cases may require amputation of digits and or limbs.
Give me the burn.
Doxycycline is the first-line treatment for all ages, including children.
That can't be fun.
It's transmitted by the American dog tick, the Rocky Mountain wood tick, and the brown dog tick. Maybe I shouldn't take my dog.
Safe bet.
I really do want to take my dog, though. She's great.
Again, it can't be bad.
Nah.
Just make sure you bring one of those brushes where you just constantly brushing the fur.
She's short hairs. That's benefit, right?
That's very big.
That's the big benefit.
Yeah, big
She's
benefit.
super short hair, so that's helpful.
So you don't gotta be searching as deep. You can just a few brushes.
A few brushes might be okay.
Brush might be the smartest bet.
Although, let me ask you this question about this camping trip. This camping trip I've got going on, what is it? It's April 6th.
Because you don't want to have to burn your dog.
No. I definitely don't want to do that. I am less than 2 months away from this trip. We go to Idaho. Lots of times it rains the entire time with lows of like 40 degrees. I can't decide, so we have a queen-size mattress that the wife and I sleep on, but I'm thinking about going to cots. 2 separate cots, kind of elevated off the ground, be a little warmer, but I don't know what to do with the dog because the dog sleeps in bed with us.
I think the cot might be the best move.
But then what do I do with the dog?
The dog's just going to sleep up on the end of...
We are short people. Let's see.
Curl up right by the feet.
Let's see.
That
Cots.
sounds like the... Because the length of a cot, that's what, like 7-8 feet?
Yeah. Oh,
Dog
okay.
will curl up at the end of your feet.
Elevated dog beds. They're like cots. This one's $63. Okay. There's one right here is $15.
Weird story here, but I used to be one of those kids who, when you go into Dick's Sporting Goods as a child, all of a sudden you're in the camping section, and I've fallen asleep on many a cot inside of the Dick's Sporting Goods section. Good naps.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Some quality naps.
I always wondered what it'd be like if I worked retail in a place like that. We were at Freddy's the other day, me and the wife, and she has a check. There's a person that works the checkout stand, you know, that I don't know what do you call them? The checkout.
The checkout lady.
Yeah. And their name is Sam, and Sam was sitting outside having a break, ripping a vape and pounding a Monster, and the wife had to go over and say hello.
Naturally.
And I was like, babe, like, they're on a break. Do you know they're nice to us when we're in line because that's their job? I don't think Sam cares.
Yeah, they really don't want to hang out
I don't
with
think
us.
they care at all. Although, shout out to Gail at Fred Meyer because they had big bags of broccoli for $7 a pop. And she told us, don't buy these. They're stinky. And I've told produce and they won't do anything about it. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah. And we were like, okay. She sets it aside. 30 seconds later, the whole thing reeks. I would have bought $14 and like 10 pounds of broccoli just to throw it away.
Shout out Gail.
Shout out Gail, right? We made a great joke with her the other day that my wife and I met in the produce lane. She goes, really? I go, no. We've been together for a very long time. But I think she likes us. Do you get to know?
That gave her so much hope for about 40 seconds.
And then just
ruined it.
Do you shop at the same? Do you shop at the same place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a neighborhood Safeway.
You are starting to recognize your cashiers, etc.
I've been there for pretty much 20 years, so they know me. I'm the guy who with a bunch of ice cream every time.
I've got a pharmacist that I avoid like the plague. And I think they know it too.
Why?
Because all I need to do is pick up, and it's the same prescription every time. And for some reason with this person, it takes me 20 minutes. I just won't do it.
They just want to keep the conversation going?
They don't talk.
That's even worse.
They just sit there.
Sitting in silence.
They just sit there and look
clicking.
at their computer screen and go. And then they go,
That can't be fun.
I can't handle it,
That
dude.
can't be fun.
I can't handle it at all. Drives me absolutely bonkers.
That's a little bit bone chilling.
Yeah.
You have to say something.
If I'm in line, I go, oh, no, I forgot something. Oh, you please go in front of me. Yeah, if you're standing in line behind me at the pharmacy, like, if I let you go in front of me, you know it's bad.
Just
you got
know
mud butt
ready,
all of a
I'm
sudden.
ready to dip out at any moment.
All of a sudden, you have mud butt, and you got to go. See, now it can be an excuse for you. I got mud butt. I got to get out of here.
I think mud butt is a valid excuse wherever you go.
Nobody wants to be around you, you know? It's like, oh, man, I threw up. They're like, ugh, get away from me.
Yeah, it's like, go handle that yourself, and I'll see you later if I need to.
Yep. Oakley Dokley, we got a great show for you today. Solo Dolo, Patrick with you. Casey's going to help me out on this bad boy. We're going to have a lot of fun today, though. It is a Monday, so we got a lot to get to, okay? The Blazers will take on the Nuggets tonight in Denver. Some conversations as they are getting ready for the playoffs, what the rest of the season looks like. We touched on this a little bit before. Timbers absolutely blow it. We'll have to get that. We've got fights in college basketball on the women's side. Joe Adell with maybe the greatest defensive performance in the history of Major League Baseball. Superstars that won't play in the NFL, but let's start over the weekend. The Final Four games. The Natty is booked. We'll circle back around on that on the nooner. But let's get into this, where we were so excited about these games. Did they deliver, and what we learned? We'll get there next. This is The Firm, 105.1 The Fan. 10:20 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it. We are live, baby, as we always are, from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge. 503-864-6326 is the fan text line. She'll let you interact with us throughout the entire day. You can also join us over on the YouTubes as well. YouTube.com. 1051 The Fan is the channel. There's a lot to get to this hour. El Presidente has decided he's going to step in with old collegiate sports, and I'm curious which side has the less case between the two of what will actually stand. There's a weird phishing scam going on in the NFL and NBA too. We'll get to this hour, but let's chat about the Final Four. Casey, did you enjoy the games this weekend?
For the most part.
Yeah, I
wish they were a little bit more competitive. I think that Michigan-Arizona game I wish was a little more competitive, but good basketball nonetheless.
Yeah, I think the hype going into it, maybe we put too much. I think we really liked the absolute clear-cut best two teams in the nation throughout the year in Arizona and Michigan fighting each other. That looked like it could have been one for the ages. The Illinois-UConn game set up to be like, and very like intense and exciting and maybe down to the wire because that's how UConn's played of late, and Illinois has just been shooting lights out. I am a college basketball junkie, so I was into it through the whole way. Both of these games, and we'll start in Illinois-UConn, both of these games I really enjoyed for the same reason. The entire time, I just kept sitting there going, what is happening? Exactly, like, how is this going on? Sprague was just in here, we were just chatting about Stojakovic for Illinois. He was getting to the hoop so much, like driving like Denny Avdia style, just Shai Gilgeous style, just going, being hard, and I'm going to take contact, and none of his buckets would fall. None of his buckets could fall. And you're kind of going, what is it going to take? Keaton Wagler was just buns from three-point line. Everybody on this team was buns. They shot 38% on the season from three-point, and they finished that game 23%. We thought that offense was something like we had never seen before. For it all to turn off in one moment was a wild, wild thing to happen.
Yeah, I think you said it pretty perfectly last week. We had never really seen Illinois, or we haven't seen Illinois not shoot very well. That's what happens.
I know, it felt like the easy thing to say is live by the three, die by the three. That's the easy thing to say. And I think Illinois did run into that. But Illinois was getting good looks. And they got good looks all year. Yes, they shot a lot from three-point, but they were always efficient, good, clean looks. For it all to no-show in a Final Four is just brutal. And I've seen a lot of Final Fours in my day where those games aren't that great. I have gone on the record multiple times saying Sweet 16 elite games tend to be the more exciting ones. This year's been a weird tournament. And what's the best game from this tournament this year?
I would say Santa Clara TCU.
That's what I was about to say. Is that it? Like, I'm going to pull up the bracket right now and take a peek at it. But
maybe High Point?
High Point, yes. High Point was great. Go through this real quick. I mean, Nebraska was a cool story. The Duke-Siena game was wild. Just from a entertainment standpoint. VCU, North Carolina, watching North Carolina completely fall apart. AJ DeBonsa tried to do a bunch of stuff, couldn't make it happen against Texas. Yes, Kentucky Santa Clara was a great one.
Iowa's upset over Florida.
Good call on that. That was fun. UConn Duke was a great game. UConn Michigan State was a great game. But I think for the most part, Tennessee got blown out in an Elite Eight. Purdue got blown out in an Elite Eight. Iowa got completely essed on by Illinois in an Elite Eight. And now we're here in a Final Four where the score is 71-62. UConn had that game. And I don't even know if UConn was that great, if I'm being honest with you. I think they just weathered the storm. Their seniors stepped up. Caravan did not have a good shooting day, but that presence on the court, I think, was felt. Terrace Reed was an absolute monster for UConn. But the story of that game to me was just that Illinois, the lights went out. And it's just the worst time possible for the lights to go out.
And that can happen with good shooting teams. Again, you don't expect shooters to be perfect all the time. Good shooting teams do have nights where they don't shoot the ball well, and that ends up being the result. If they play this game 5-10 even in a 7-game series, I might take Illinois more than I take UConn, but UConn obviously did enough where they dominated.
Yeah, and then you flip that over to the Michigan-Arizona game. Talk about scores being deceiving. 91-73 is the final of that game. That was a 30-point game for a lot of it.
B-Day.
I don't even know where to really go with this game. I can't tell if Michigan dominated or if Arizona no-showed or both. And it might be a collection of both because I don't think you win by 30. Those two teams play 10 times. None of those games are 30-point games. I don't know if it's the Tommy Lloyd conversation, him being rumored to go to North Carolina, all that buzz, his weird press conferences that he was doing. I don't know if that's part of it, but Karchenkov couldn't do anything. Koa Pete couldn't do anything. Braden Burries couldn't do anything. They shot, there was something like they had more turnovers than assists. That was the same with Illinois. Illinois couldn't assist for their life either.
Arizona had 5 assists to 13 turnovers.
That's insane. You cannot win basketball games that way. I saw a report that if you look at Elliot Cadeau's shots, he was 5 of 17, okay, from the field. And you're kind of like, well, that's a really bad shooting percentage, bud. It was the allergic reaction or the food poisoning. We never really got a straight answer on that. Did that really hamper him that rough? The answer is yes, but then I saw some things that they were saying some of Cadeau's misses off the backboard were intentional. That coaches looked at some film and said, if you were trying to pass this to the other side of the hoop, just pass it off the backboard eliminate the size of Arizona.
That the big man is going to jump after the first one and that you just have the easy putback rebound.
Boom. Like you always find really strange, weird, awesome coaching tidbits that you've never seen. I can't remember that one. I want you to miss the basketball intentionally. If that's true, because it could just be rhetoric to save Cadeau's ego or make him look better. If that's true, that's some genius stuff that I never thought of.
Throwing lobs off the backboard and executing very well, that's good basketball.
Seeing Yoxel go down was definitely concerning, but when Yoxel went down, the game was out of hand already. I'm surprised he came back in. I would have sat his ass down for the rest of the game because what's the point? I mean, if Arizona goes on a run, which they're very capable of doing, if they go on a run to bring this game closer and you feel like you need to bring Yoxel back in, okay, I get that. But it was never in doubt. And I can't help but compare Tommy Lloyd to my boy in Spokane. He's a Spokane guy. Like, are you getting out-coached? Is that what this is? Or did Arizona just no-show? Because if Tommy Lloyd's about to go down the list and go down the path that Mark Few goes down, and I only bring this up because Lloyd was with Few for 20 years, Arizona ain't going to stand for that. Gonzaga can stand for it. Arizona ain't going to stand for that.
Again, you just reportedly got paid one of the 5 highest paid contracts in all of college basketball.
And the things in his contract are like, I don't report to the AD, I'm in charge, I get X amount of money. Like, it is, here's the keys. Like, you are in charge of this program. Maybe they just lost. Maybe they just lost. And if so, I hope so. I think it sets up an extremely intriguing matchup for tonight. I guess I'm in the minority of this when talking with Brandon at the end of Dirt and Sprague. I'm really pro Danny Hurley right now. We'll get to the Natty and the Big Nooner. What Danny Hurley is showing me and what he kind of showed me is he's embracing the villain. And what do I always say about villains? You got to be, if you're a bad guy, you got to be likable. Otherwise, you're just a jerk.
Likeable villains.
God, I love that man right now. And he's in his 3rd Natty in 4 years. And that's so impressive. He's playing with house money. I think all the pressure's on Michigan in that game because Danny Hurley is just like, hey, we're here. And I don't even think he expected to be here this year. I keep saying it. It's next year's team. I know they're going to lose Reed. I know they're going to lose Terrace Reed. And I know they're going to lose, what's his butt? The senior wing, Caravan. They're going to lose Caravan and they're going to lose Reed, but the youth on that team is really, really good. And to be in a Natty right now and giving them that experience should push them for the future. And we'll talk about the future of those programs tomorrow after we find out who climbs the ladder and cuts down the nets, as UConn will take on Michigan. We'll swing back around on that in the Big Nooner for the Natty tonight. But when we come back, there's a very interesting story going on that Danny and I have been trying to get to, but we keep pushing it off, about some players in the NFL and the NBA taking advantage of, well, today in the scam world, it's easy to do. We'll go there next. There's Casey with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the NCAA Men's National Championship is set as the UConn Huskies will take on the Michigan Wolverines to determine who will walk away with the 2026 National Championship. Michigan comes into the contest as 6.5-point favorites, as we are geared for tip-off just before 6 o'clock. The Women's NCAA National Championship wrapped up yesterday on Easter Sunday as the UCLA Bruins took down the South Carolina Gamecocks 79-51, becoming your 2026 NCAA Women's National Champions, as Gabriela Jaquez led the way for the Bruins as she posted 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in the Bruins' first championship in program history. Your Portland Trailblazers had the weekend off, but are back in action tonight, taking on the Denver Nuggets on the road at 6 p.m. inside Ball Arena, as the Blazers will be without Shaedon Sharpe, Vit Krejci, Damian Lillard, and Jeremy Grant, as Denver comes into the contest as 7.5-point favorites. Your Portland Timbers fell to the Vancouver Whitecaps 3-2 on Saturday night. Timbers led in the Cascadia Cup match until the 91st minute, when a penalty kick from Thomas Mueller tied things up until Vancouver midfielder Sebastian Berhalter put things to bed in extra stoppage time. Finally, some breaking NFL news for you, as Giants All-Pro defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence has requested a trade. Lawrence will not participate in the Giants offseason workout programs that begin on Tuesday, as the two parties have not progressed in contract talks. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Sports Saturday with Joe Fisher and Rashad.
You know, it's always crazy living in this world. You think we're all up to it? You know, how many spam texts or phone calls do you get a day, Casey?
At least 3 or 4.
At least, right?
A lot.
Fortunately, my phone, I think most phones are like this, block a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
So you get lucky on that. The text messages don't always get blocked. Although my phone now has, if they're like text stop to opt out, you can now click the button that says stop and delete. So you can delete the text message. It will send the word stop beforehand. So you can hopefully opt out.
That's something I need a lot because I get a bunch of food updates. Just a bunch of deals at local restaurants and stuff where I'm like, I don't think I'll ever make it out.
Ooh, that sounds great, and I'm not going to go. Yeah, you have that moment when you're like, oh, I really want to do that. Wait a sec. Okay, let's back this up. Am I really going to do this? No, I'm not.
It takes all of 30 seconds to realize, yeah, no, it's just a one-time deal.
I'm getting close to doing that with things I own. I'm in this weird teeter. I was very, very good at this when I was younger. And maybe it's because we don't have any money when we're young and we live in small spaces, but I never saved anything. And I'm not talking about this piece of wood is going to be great someday. No. But there are some things that I save that I'm like, I'm going to use this someday. Clothes, and I'm like, I'm going to fit in this again. And you're like, I don't know if you are, man. I'm starting to have that reality.
I do that a lot with clothes, too, because I get a lot of hand-me-down stuff from just my older brothers and, again, older people in my life who are like, yeah, I'm throwing this away. You want it? Every time I take it and I won't wear it, I'll wear it one time, and then it'll just go back in the closet for the next however long until I'll probably give it away.
I currently have 6 hats that I will wear if I'm doing yard work or if I'm rafting that I know if I lose, it'll be totally fine. I never lose them, and I wear the same one every time. But I've got 6 of them. I'm like, oh, I'll hold on to this one because I'll use this at some point. It's like, no, you won't.
They've got all the sweat stains in them, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got my Wazoo alumni. It's this small little gray one. But on that note, the NFL Players Association, this is an article from The Athletic last week from David Carrillo Peñalosa, if I'm saying that correctly. The Players Association, the NFL, and some NBA players were alerted that they may have been targeted by a man who basically created a phishing scam. He would steal credit card numbers to make up his to kind of how he got his wealth, and he would send out phishing scams to NFL and NBA players posing as a female adult star while trying to get them involved in fraud and sex trafficking without their knowledge. And this is what's so nuts, man. I know that there are classes now for rookies and stuff when you go into the NBA and you go into the NFL about how to protect your assets and how to protect your, for lack of a better term, assets from getting exposed like this. And it's crazy that it still happens. You have so many people coming at you that want to take advantage of you that you have no idea where to go with it. And this is something that we always want to sit here and say this would never happen to me, this would never happen to me, but this, quote, this individual was supposedly able to access many athletes' iCloud accounts and stole victim information, including credit cards. I don't even know how you would do that. Now, I guess if you're rich and famous, it's the idea of sleeping with a porn star sounds dope, I guess.
Probably.
I guess, yeah. You're super, super rich. You're what do I got to lose? I mean, we've seen athletes, right? Wasn't there a Notre Dame football player? Was he a basketball player? That was Stupin, one of those porn stars, one of the older ones. I don't remember. But yeah. You got to watch yourself. Prosecutors allege that in May of 2021, this guy posed as an adult film star, recruited, tricked, and coerced a woman into engaging in commercial sex acts with professional athletes, falsely promising the encounters would advance her modeling career. Doesn't that sound familiar? In a world with a ton of money at stake and your reputation at stake, can you live in a world, can professional athletes live in a world where they can just, for lack of better terms, a complete different view of the phrase, shut up and dribble? Can you get to a point where you're just focused on your job and cut the noise out? It's got to be tough, man. Casey, I can't imagine being 20 years old and being like, let's take Shaden Sharp, for example. By all accounts, seems like a great guy, quiet dude, doesn't really go out much. It seems like you don't hear stories about him around town. He got $100 million, and he's 22 years old. Like, I don't know what that would do, and I'm 40, and I would like to think that I've got a good head on my shoulders. The amount of money being doled out, it would be worth spending some of that money, I think, on, for lack of better terms, a handler. Somebody that watches out for you.
I think that's what a lot of these NBA vets are supposed to be doing, is they're supposed to allow you to learn if they've made mistakes, learn from their mistakes, and or guide you in the direction of, hey, you need someone that's going to look out for your interest on this side of things. You need someone that's going to look out for your interest on this side.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where you rely on the people around you.
And Danny and I talk about it a lot, that it's who you hang with. It's your circle around you.
It's 1,000% your circle.
And when you get older, something to teach you, Casey, like when you get older, start leaning on your friends that do stuff. Like, you got an accountant friend, that's your accountant. You got someone who sells insurance, that's your insurance guy. Because in theory, depending on how close you are, in theory, those friends are going to be looking out for your best interest. Most of these people that are hanging around, like the Ja Morants of the world who have the bad crowd hanging around him, those guys don't offer anything other than, yes, sir, I love you, you're the best, you're the
Everybody
greatest.
wants to have a guy. Again, the whole story of, oh, I got a guy for that. Everybody wants to have that.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have that, it's powerful.
I think the problem is that everybody thinks they have it with somebody that's not really qualified for it. You know who I like? I like having a guy that I don't really like.
What do you mean?
Well, let's say, okay, I'm going to lean on your brother. He's going to be my new Christmas lights guy, all right? I hope that I meet your brother and don't like him, but he does a great job, because then I'll hire him every time. Because then I don't got to worry about it. Is that the route to go? Or is it the opposite of wanting to like your brother, so you assume that he won't screw me over?
I think both. I think you definitely want someone you can trust, and obviously someone that's not going to screw you over, but you also want someone that you know is just going to do the work. You're not going to have any side conversations. I think, again, depends on the role. It really depends on the role and the person.
Yeah, and you got to be willing to say no, and you got to be willing to take the time to vet people. Like if you call someone to do, I don't know, you need some plumbing work done, and you call somebody and they come out and take a look at it. They might sound nice, they might sound great. Go check someone else just to be safe. If somebody's like, dude, I got an opportunity of a lifetime for you, you're like, do you?
Crowdsourcing.
Should I have someone else look at this?
A lot for you. Peer review, crowdsourcing. Again, the more eyes you can get on an idea, usually the better the idea becomes.
Without a doubt. And most of the time, that's why YouTube's my friend. I watch YouTube try to figure out. I'm trying to work on some of my stereo system, but I don't know anything about electrical, like soldering and stuff like that. So I'm trying to figure out how I can learn that stuff. But then I read things and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. Speaking Mandarin to me.
When you go into those high-priced tools, that's where I don't think YouTube University can help you, because there's a lot of trial and error that I feel like goes on with those things.
Apparently there's a guy on YouTube who's like, he's like your dad to help teach you how to do things. If you don't if you don't have your dad in your life to teach you something, he's the guy that's going to teach you how to change a tire.
The guy that teaches you how to tie a tie.
Yeah. We need more of those people in the world. You know me, man. I'm sometimes annoyingly positive and sometimes obliviously positive.
I can be the same way.
The question is do I get scammed like these guys? Look, I'm not paying to have sex with a porn star. I don't think that is.
I think that's out of our realm.
I think that's out of our realm. Nor do I need it to be in my realm. But I don't know. Am I more likely to get scammed because I'm a positive human being? Is that how crappy the world is right now?
Things can happen.
We're going to take you down, loser. Oh, you think that's cool? Suck on this. Something that is going to be pretty cool is over in Pittsburgh. They're getting ready to welcome the nation to the unofficial beginning of football season, and the city's kickoff celebration will begin with an unforgettable, invite-only night of music. The night before, It takes place Wednesday, April 22nd at the Rivers Casino Event Center featuring Jason Aldean, John Morgan, Shane Profit. Prize includes round-trip airfare, a 2-night hotel stay, 2 tickets to the show. That is the night before. It's a national contest. You can visit odyssey.com/the night before to enter now for your chance to win, and also any details you may need. The president has decided to step into college sports and has decided to tell you what you can do as a collegiate athlete. Now, we talk many times about, does the NCAA have any leverage when it comes to this stuff? Because they tend to sue or get sued and lose. But is the president going to be able to actually enforce this? We'll get to that next. 105.1 The Fan. Coming up in hour number deuce, we'll get into the NBA a little bit as the Blazers are in Denver as they finish their final streak to get into the play-in. Well, they are in the play-in, just depends on seeding, looking at either the 8th or the 9th right now. So we'll get to that in the Big Nooner. Also, superstars. Who to believe? Because I'll tell you what, I don't know if I believe either of them, and one of them might be a Trailblazer someday. And we will have a discussion about the Timbers situation over the weekend, plus Web Gems. Web Gems is a fun one today. So there's a lot to get to, but it kind of broke. We had this great client party on Friday here, and shout out to the sales staff and Boss Man Cooley and everybody around the station and some of our remote workers who came in and helped us out, throw a pretty great party for a lot of our great friends out there in the world that keeps the lights on for us. It kind of broke in that, and Danny and I were talking a little bit about it, and we were really excited to talk about it today because this is a little bit where the rubber meets the road, and I have no idea. It came out on Friday that President Trump is going to sign an executive order, or he might have already signed it, for eligibility in NCAA sports. And the thought was you get 5 years of eligibility and 1 transfer. Now, I think on the surface, I like the concept. I get a little wishy-washy when politics get involved in sports. I always worry that when politics get involved in sports, it's because you done stepped in it pretty bad, and the government has to come in because you can't. It's lack of institutional control. So I get a little worried about that. Conceptually, I'm kind of interested in the idea of 5 years and 1 transfer because it does, continues your eligibility and allows you to have that freedom of movement. I just worry, I don't know how enforceable that is. I'd have to look. Does the NCAA as a business fall under government restrictions? Can the government actually do that to them? But on the flip side, anytime somebody challenges the NCAA and the NCAA sues or countersues or whatever it might be, they tend to blow it. So you're looking at a president who gets sued all the time and loses, and the NCAA who gets sued all the time and loses. Where does the rubber meet the road? I'll ask you this question first, Casey, before we get there. 5 years, 1 transfer. Are you on board with that? Or is the current climate okay?
I think I'm on board with that in theory. In practice, I'm not so sure. Because, again, like you said, there are going to be situations where a player probably will need that extra year or might, again, have to fight for an extra year for that eligibility. And in practice, might lose out on the opportunity, and that might hurt college sports as a whole.
I know.
Just depending on the magnitude of the star.
I think a lot of us agree that there needs to be some sort of guardrails. I don't know if they need to be extreme. I think they need to be as close to black and white as we can get, because right now there's a lot of wishy-washy. It's the quarterback at Virginia who's trying to play for another year. I think it's Virginia. He's going through it right now. The Trinidad Chambliss thing might go all the way to the United States Supreme Court. So I can understand, but then there's the
Chandler Morris is his name.
Chandler Morris, thank you. But then there's the Tyler Shucks situation, for example. Okay, he comes to Oregon, not really well received, despite I thought he was an okay quarterback at Oregon. He has a bunch of injury problems. He lands at Texas Tech. That doesn't really work out for him. He lands at Louisville. That kind of works out, not really, but it gets him into the NFL, into the second round. I don't know if anybody's looking at Tyler Shuck and saying you're exploiting the system, you're taking advantage of it, and people just don't like you. To where there are certain players who have bounced around from school to school because they just weren't good enough or were a headache. I mean, Spencer Rattler bounced around. He seems like a different situation than Tyler Shuck to me. But in trying to make rules that are semi-black and white, how do you do that when everyone's situation is not black and white?
I think what it's trying to do is stop the players from going to get a quick check for the 1 year and then again winning the lawsuit against the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
As you go in there, all right, I'm going to play for 1 year. I'm out of there in the transfer portal. I win my lawsuit, and the college still pays me more money.
Underwood takes $10 million from Michigan this last year. They're not very good. Let's say Sharon Moore stays there, and he's like, I don't know about this. Then he goes to LSU to take another bag. Then he goes to Ohio State to take another bag.
Or Damon Williams situation.
Great example.
All right, I go and take the bag. I win the lawsuit. I go and take another bag. Maybe I transfer away from there and take another bag.
And I think also a big part of it, too, is just the future that I would love to see, and I think this will eventually happen, when it becomes a real job and they unionize. I think you will see transactions in college football like you do in the NFL. I think you will, or in any professional sport. I think you will see the Bryce Underwoods of the world sign a 3-year deal at Michigan with a player option or a team option for the 4th year, say he doesn't go to the NFL.
And rather than it being formed as requesting a trade, he's requesting a transfer.
Exactly. He's requesting the transfer, and then Michigan transfers him to Clemson, and Clemson has to send back money or another player or some sort of compensation that works, because that would make sense, and that's kind of more of the guardrails. Now, when it comes, again, to the government versus the NCAA, look, I think they both stink, and I don't even know which side of this I would put my finger on. Now, I will credit the administration, who I rarely, if ever, do, for trying to come up with a solution. Again, I think if the government is involved, it's because you have done something wrong and you've lost it. I wish the NCAA came up with some sort of counter, came up with some sort of this or an update of this is what we're looking at, this is what we're working with ADs on and chancellors and conference execs, etc. And we haven't heard anything. And that's really the problem with the NCAA, is that we just never hear anything about them.
Is there still a worry that money is being moved under the table?
I think there has to be, because there probably is.
There has to be.
I mean, dude, I know somebody who sells weed. You sell weed? Like, bro, there's as many weed stores as Starbucks in this town. I think there are definitely black market behind the scenes transactions. How did Michigan really get, and I'm just using it as an example. I'm not trying to pile on Michigan. I'm just using them because the Underwood saga was pretty big. He was going to go to LSU. Now he goes to Michigan. Is he only going to Michigan because they offered him more in NIL, or is there something under the table? Because in theory, in NIL, you have to put it all in the books because you only have X amount of dollars you can spend, et cetera, et cetera. So of course there is. Of course there's still bags. I mean, is it a Kawhi Leonard situation where you can come to Michigan and this is your NIL, but you also stay in this house that we pay the rent for, we buy your groceries, here's a car, et cetera, because that's what the Reggie Bush stuff, and that's what got him in trouble, and now I think that's fair game to do. Again, can the government regulate that? I don't know if they can. Is college sports considered free market capitalism? That I don't know. But when you live in that nonprofit student-athlete facade, then it's hard to really figure out what it is the solution is. I think we're a few years away from finding a solution. I just worry that things might have to get really, really bad before we do.
That's my worry, too, is the bad is always going to come to light before we see the good. This bad can't... Is it going to shake up all of college sports? Or is it just going to be something that, again, like a lot of stuff in college sports, we sweep under the rug and look forward?
It'll be interesting to see who has the power in this situation. When we come back, let's slide over to the NBA. The Blazers are in Denver. You're going to get at least one home playoff game in the play-in. Is this worth it? Let's have an honest conversation here. Is this worth it? Loaded hour number 2, 105.1 The Fan.
Hey, it's Duke for A&E.
McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This sports update is brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for a DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today, online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on the Fan, the NCAA Men's National Championship is officially set as the Yukon Huskies will take on the Michigan Wolverines to determine who will walk away with the 2026 National Championship. Michigan comes into the contest as 6.5-point favorites as we are geared for tip-off just before 6 o'clock. The Women's NCAA National Championship wrapped up yesterday on Easter Sunday as the UCLA Bruins took down the South Carolina Gamecocks 79-51, becoming your 2026 NCAA Women's National Champions. Gabriela Jaquez led the way for the Bruins as she posted 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in the Bruins' first championship in program history. Your Portland Trailblazers had the weekend off but are back in action, taking on the Denver Nuggets on the road at 6 p.m. inside Ball Arena. Blazers will be without Shaedon Sharpe, Vit Krejci, Damian Lillard, and Jeremy Grant as Denver comes into the contest as 7.5-point favorites. Your Portland Timbers fell to the Vancouver Whitecaps 3-2 Saturday night. The Timbers led in the Cascadia Cup match until the 91st minute when a penalty kick from Thomas Mueller tied things up until Vancouver midfielder Sebastian Berhalter put things to bed in extra stoppage time. Finally, some breaking NFL news for you as Giants All-Pro defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence has requested a trade. Lawrence will not participate in the Giants offseason programs that begin on Tuesday as the two parties have not progressed in contract talks over the last 2 years. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the firm of Harris and Moran.
Hour number deuce here. If you're missing the first hour, you can download that, The Fan Podcast, 1051thefan.com. The Odyssey app, wherever you get your podcasts. If you missed Dirt and Sprague this morning, you can catch that on the YouTubes or the Odyssey app. If you're not going to catch Primetime Live today, you can do the same as well. Rewind, fast forward, except for into the future. For that would be impossible. If you heard Casey's update, got a little bit of breaking news that we'll pivot to right here. I promise we will get to the Blazers. What's interesting is this actually kind of potentially affects the Blazers, as story just broke that the University of North Carolina Tar Heels men's basketball program has hired Mike Malone, the NBA champion with the Denver Nuggets head coach Mike Malone, to be the new man in charge of their program. We heard over the weekend, this kind of broke, I think it was during Danny and I's show on Friday, that Tommy Lloyd signed a fat deal to stay at Arizona. I saw last night Nate Oates is about to sign a fat deal to stay at Alabama. I also saw the rumors. To Danny's credit, he was on this and got me on board real quickly. The idea of Billy Donovan going back to college basketball and taking the UNC job was really enticing to me. I had the conversation with Sprague and Swag this morning. They really hate that I've been more of a Duke guy than a North Carolina guy throughout my life. If Billy Donovan was at North Carolina, that would have definitely piqued my interest. That's a two-time Natty winner with NBA experience. The Mike Malone hire, before we get to the Blazers aspect of it, boy, this better not be Bill 2.0. This better not be Belichick 2.0, where you get a guy who's had success in the NBA, in the professional realm, but can be a little bit of a red ass, can have a little bit of issues with upper management. Bringing him in with no collegiate experience, no recruiting experience, no NIL experience. Look, coaching basketball is one thing, and college players will definitely let you coach more so than NBA. But who's this guy? Like, who's he getting recruiting? Who's going to be on his staff? Like, most people's staffs are fully locked and loaded. Belichick got himself an NFL guy to try to run NIL. And we'll see. I don't think we should completely kill Bill for his first year at North Carolina. The aesthetics, I think, are a lot worse than what actually is going on down there when it comes to his girlfriend and just him being in the college sector, period. I don't know. This seems like a real big swing for UNC.
I was all for it. I know we talked just briefly during the break. I did a little bit more research, and I think you are right. I think this is probably not going to be as strong of a decision as they wanted to, especially because the reason why his tenure in Denver ended so poorly is because he didn't want to develop the young players. Do you think Mike Malone is kind of owning up to a mistake?
Yeah, I'm not sure, and I definitely think, we've had this combo over the last few weeks, me and Danny and you as well, Casey, that one thing that North Carolina has kind of lost over the last 10, 15 years is that NBA first-round caliber talent. They've got it this year in Caleb Wilson. And I don't think one-and-dones should be a direct correlation of how great your program is and whether it's fair or not. They are compared to Duke, who is throwing one-and-dones in year after year after year. Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, Cam Boozer this year. I don't know whether it's fair or not. That's the reality of the comparison. North Carolina's won titles over the last few years. Tyler Hansbrough comes to mind. I think they won a title 6 years ago. So it's like with Roy Will, they were winning. And that's fine, but the brand, the flashy Tar Heel powder blue had kind of worn off from the Vince Carter, Rasheed Wallace, Antoine Jameson, Michael Jordan kind of stuff. I don't know if Malone is that guy. Now, Cal ran a program at Kentucky and Memphis and UMass and now at Arkansas that says, do you want to play in the NBA? You come play with me. Now, Cal's approach of I will teach you how to play in the NBA, is that Malone's approach, or is Malone's approach I'm going to coach you like the NBA? Because those are two different things. Teaching you how is one different than treating you how. And that is a worry that I have when it comes to Mike Malone. Are you going to be a red ass on college players? Because it works for the OGs. It doesn't always work for the young guys. Nate Oates will get fired up at a ref. He's not always yelling at his players. Izzo can get away with it. Calvin Sampson can get away with it. But Dusty May, he's not yelling at his guys. He's supporting his guys. Is Malone going to be able to get away with that? And that, I really don't know.
I think I'm with you there. I don't know if his energy translates as well to college basketball, especially because what are all college basketball coaches? They're the GM, they're the face. Mm-hmm. The conversation is always about the coach before it's about the player.
Whether it was NIL or not. And Coach K's always been a bag man.
Is it
Billy Donovan was a bag man at Florida. They all are.
Exactly. Is it an easier indictment just to point out Mike Malone before you start crucifying the program itself?
Also, we live in a what have you done for me lately? And Mike Malone's, it's not far removed, but it feels far removed. Does a 16-year-old who's a McDonald's All-American care about Mike Malone?
I think you look at the dominance of Jokic, and you have to start to separate those two a little bit.
Let's twist this on its head when it comes to the Blazers. Bleak points this out on the YouTube, and he's totally right. Finally, all the quote, they should hire Malone, end quote, whining among Blazer fans can shut up. Look, I don't know where I am on Tiago. I really don't. I would like to have an ayahuasca dark room retreat with myself to find out where I live on Tiago. I'm definitely not anti-Tiago. I know that. But I don't know if I'm sold on it. I would like to see a little bit of more. Hell, I would love to see him come back next year just to see how he performs again under more normal circumstances. But the concept that Mike Malone was going to be the fix for the Blazers is something that I agree that I'm happy to be rid of. If Tiago's not the guy and they need to bring in a new guy, I don't know if Mike Malone was going to be the be-all, end-all to your problems because it's still about players. And does Mike Malone, as a coach to the Blazers on this season, because as much as everybody says that they're convinced that the Blazers are going to make a trade, I am not convinced yet. I think they will try. Now, if they succeed, that I don't know. And so if this team gets run back, and if Mike Malone were the coach, Was Portland the 7 seed, the 8 seed, to get swept by San Antonio or
I don't think that excites anyone.
Oklahoma City?
I don't think that excites anyone.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Pulling him out of the NBA circles also makes me wonder if Mike Malone wasn't getting a ton of offers from NBA circles. GMs talk. And I think you can understand that, okay, this GM didn't get along with this coach really didn't get along with that front office. I think some guys can separate it. I think you can say, look, Mike was great, and he won a title for us, and he disagreed on some player personnel things that we really believed in, and it just got contentious, and we had to let him go. But he's a great coach, and you should hire him.
I think you can agree on that, but you can also fundamentally disagree that you're seeing the league a different way. If you're trying to bring in a bunch of veterans like Mike Malone was doing and load up as much as you can, rather than developing young guys, and now you're going to college, I think that's a little bit of, I might have been wrong. I might just need to take a look at this a different way and go see where the talent pool really is at right now.
And if you're a good coach, you'll learn how to adapt on that. You know, you will have to. You know, Jason Kidd's running through that right now in Dallas. He's got to figure out how to work with the young kids because he doesn't have Luka and Kyrie to take him to a finals. You know, this is what Milwaukee hasn't been able to figure out since they won a title. They run through coaches, it feels like, because they put all their chips in. They kind of F them picks and put all their chips in to try to win a chip, kind of all of the LA Rams. And now they're looking around going, oh boy, we have Giannis and who? Oh boy, this is not good. Well, we'll draft some players. It's like, oh no, we're not going to draft players because we don't have anybody. And this is something that Dan Lanning does so well in Eugene. And here's my Duck Homer coming for you today on a Monday. Dan Lanning does this so well in Eugene that he is finding players that can contribute now, and they'll have practice tomorrow. And we'll actually have the brand man on Wednesday to talk to us about how Duck practice goes tomorrow to kind of see that. How Lanning is always looking at, I need guys that can play now, but I also need guys that might play next year because guys don't leave. Guys really only leave for the draft or they run out of eligibility, and he's been able to plug and play. You have to be able to look at now and the future. And that was, to your point, Casey, the problem with Malone in Denver is that it was just like, no, we got a window. Got to win titles now. And if we win 3 titles and then suck at the very, very bottom for a while, then so be it. We got 3 titles. And I don't think Denver wants to operate that way. I know Tom Dundon and the Blazers don't want to. Jerry DiPoto up in Seattle, as much as we make fun of his 56%, 54% situation, he is thinking about competing every single year instead of just going for it.
If you have Shaq and Kobe and Jamal Murray and Jokic, I'm not going to make the wrong decision and rely on Jamal Murray because I want Shaq. I want the face. I'm going to let this one ride.
It's a dangerous place to be. My initial reaction, unless Billy Donovan just said no, that would have been a home run hire. He knows the college game. I'm concerned if I'm a North Carolina fan. And I think it's a giant reach. I think it's a splash hire. I think it's trying to put North Carolina back on the map. But even from a coaching standpoint, if I'm not talking about recruiting and NIL, etc., where does Mike Malone rank on the coaching pantheon in college basketball? Because Dusty May's putting on a clinic right now. Tommy Lloyd looked like the bee's knees before he got blown out by Michigan. Danny Hurley might be the best college coach since John Wooden.
Cal and Izzo are still kicking.
You got the mayor at Nebraska who had a fantastic season. Is Mike Malone a better coach than Mick Cronin at UCLA? I don't know that answer. And if that's the hire you're getting at North Carolina, we go back to this all the time. We said this last week. If you're going to fire Hubie, which I thought you had to, it was time to move on, you better know who you're going to do. And if you thought Tommy Lloyd was your 1, if Mike Malone was your 2, should have kept Hubie. We'll see how that goes. Let's keep this conversation, Blazer. Funny enough, they are in Denver tonight as the fight for play and seeding continues. Let's have this conversation. Welcome to any and all of your thoughts, 503-864-6326 or over on the YouTubes. Is it worth it to get to the playoffs, make it out of the play-in, and actually make some noise? Is it worth it? Or are we just here for S's and G's? That's next. 105.1 The Fan.
The Fan.
I love this thought here from Rufio on the YouTube chat. Is it just me, or are there more organizations, both college and pro, that are moving on from a coach with the expectation of getting another good coach and then ending up with their, quote, safety school? I think so. It's just we talked about this last week with Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell is a great coach. He was not Penn State's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And coaching, especially in the collegiate level, is so GD important that if you're going to move on from somebody, you better be cool with it. And you see it more so in the NFL. We're going to have a conversation about Vitolo in San Francisco tomorrow, going from college to pro in MLB. I'm curious people's thoughts on if that's a situation where you went from college to pro, because to me, baseball is baseball. You see this in the NFL, though. We talk about, your mortal enemies, Casey. It's like, if you're going to move on from John Harbaugh, you better know the plan. And if you're all in on Lamar, you better know that plan, because you are moving on from one of, the pantheons of elite coaches in NFL history. And we're seeing that now in college, whether it's Mike Malone at UNC or Matt Campbell at Penn State. What if LSU didn't get Lane Kiffin? What if he stayed? What are you doing now? Because Kenny Dill looks like he's happy at Arizona State. He could have the Michigan job.
Now you're reaching.
Now you're super reaching. And this, I'm texting with Stevie Brackets here and talking to a bunch of my college friends. You're reaching. You're reaching big time. And what kind of damage does that do to your program? Because if Malone bottoms out, this program at UNC is not in a good spot. And if you take it backwards, the damage Malone could do in 3 years could take you 6 years to recover from. Now, maybe not, because UNC's got the money. They got the brand. But where is the brand right now?
Yeah, but UNC can't afford to take steps back.
I don't think they can.
Especially when they're already losing legacy points.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to take steps back.
I think Mick Cronin said it the other day that UNC, the brand, isn't what it was anymore in recruiting.
1,000%.
And he knows that at UCLA. Like, they've been trying to lean on that UCLA brand since Ben Howland left. And Ben Howland took them to back-to-back Final Fours and a national championship appearance. After that, it's been a little quiet over there. I mean, I know UCLA almost made to a Final Four if it wasn't for Jalen Suggs, but since then, like that's a program kind of middling in mediocrity. And the brand, the name on the chest, the Reggie Miller, the Lou Alcindor, the Bill Walton doesn't resonate.
But they are still getting guys drafted in the first round.
That is true. That is true. Is that enough to keep North Carolina afloat? That I don't know. The Blazers are in Denver tonight. That's a 6 p.m. kick. 6 p.m. tip. I always say that. It's always a kick for me.
That's the soccer brand.
So I'll say that for baseball, dude. Ooh, kicks at 1 o'clock today. That's why I probably should just, pack it up. Call it a day.
That's why you don't watch King of the Hill.
That's why I don't watch King of the Hill. Blazers take on the Nuggets tonight. And look, here's where we situate. With the Golden State Warriors loss last night, the Portland Trail Blazers are guaranteed a home play-in game, I should say. Which, on that level, I think is exciting. I think that's great. It will be the biggest meaningful basketball game since the Blazers lost to the Pelicans. With Anthony Davis, Rajon Rondo, Drew Holiday. I was at those games. That's the last time I've been to Blazer games. So if you take somebody like me, who is a casual attending Blazer fan, that's a fantastic situation. But that's the question I want to ask. Whether they land the 8th seed and they host, say they lose, and then, they got to play their second game, whatever it might be. Whatever their situation might be. Does winning the play-in game really, to get you in to whether it's Oklahoma City or San Antonio, most likely OKC, is it worth it? Or would you rather have that 11th, 13th overall draft pick?
I think you want the draft pick, but also making it over 500 for what the team expectation was at the start of the year, that's a super huge confidence boost going into next year.
I think so too. I think there can be positives to this season without it being a playoff berth. This team, I think I heard many times Jason Sukanik say on primetime that I think he took their over-under at 34.5.
And 40 wins?
And poop on his face now for that. Now, I probably would have agreed with him at the beginning of the season, but I think this team has come a long way. And I think you can see it individual player-wise. I think you can see it team-wise. You've seen Toumani Camara solidify himself as a top defender in the NBA. Deni Avdija is a scorer. Now we all kind of, you and I tend to agree, Casey, but a lot of fans tend to differ on, is he a 1, a 2, or a 3, etc., his role in the team going forward.
The level of stardom.
Yes, the level of stardom. Donovan Clingan is a bona fide center in the NBA. We got questions about Shane. We got questions about Scoot, etc. I think this team is an absolute win for the year. I don't know if getting to the playoffs and getting routed by San Antonio or most likely Oklahoma City is going to make you feel better. I think it's a little, to quote Danny Meringue, I think it's a little smelling your own farts. I would rather do the play-in game, lose, figure out where you're going to do in the offseason, get another trade asset in a first-round pick, get yourself away from that Chicago situation, and whether it's go get Giannis or some other kind of situation to trade in the world, start looking at it that way. I don't see any benefit. By the way, have you heard anything about Jeremy Grant? Have you heard anything about Shaedon Sharpe? No. You know why? Because there's nothing to know, which tells me
shut them down.
They're done. I would
shut them down.
I would, and you know me, man. I try to be
assets healthy.
I try to be so positive all the time, and I'm rooting for this Blazer team to be good. I'm rooting for Scoot Henderson. I'm rooting for Shaedon Sharpe. Jeremy Grant is too valuable of an asset. Whether he plays next year, plays and gets traded, or is traded in the offseason.
Regardless of what team he is on, that dude can hoop and he will perform wherever he goes.
Exactly. And Shaedon is the same way. You just locked him up for 4 years. Okay? The Cavs, the number one thing we're noticing about Cavs is it leads to Achilles. And Achilles is the number one fear of all sports organizations and sports medicine right now. And if you are going to push somebody out there to get swept by OKC, that was worth it to you? I can't handle that. And I know that Dundon is coming with this big D energy of we're going to win. That's cool. I think he'll let you slide this time.
Again, we're going to win. I don't think it's specified of when. I don't think it's saying we want to. I know we want to win right now, but can we generally afford to win right now and have it hurt us next year.
Exactly.
I would rather have it build next year and us just go into the offseason with a lot of momentum and being a team to be very scary to go up against.
I'm with you, Casey. I think you said the best thing of our entire day so far is they cannot make the playoffs and it still be a successful season. And this concept of getting playoff experience, is it really experience of getting blown out 4 games in a row? A gentleman's sweep in 5? Is that really a benefit?
How much experience is that really?
If you were a 5 seed playing the 4 seed and you got into a dogfight, 6 games, 7 games, and you lose, that's experience. But going up against a team like OKC and being like, all right, guys, let's break it down. We just lost in 4 straight games. Let's say it's a good thing and it's 5 games. Let's get together. Let's kind of rap about the end of the season. What went wrong against OKC? Oh, we just didn't defend on the perimeter well enough. Oh, Donovan wasn't offensive. He was there defensively and at the boards, but he could be. No. You lost because you're not as good.
They're just the better team.
They're just the better team. And I don't think losing in a 4 or 5 game series against a better team gives you this experience. Oh, so you got a bad taste in your mouth? Wah.
Again, every athlete wants to compete. And don't ever take the competition away from the athlete because that's when you lose the will. Let them compete, but obviously don't push it. If you want to go out there and compete. But don't do it at the expense of what your opportunity next year could possibly be.
Eric saying on the YouTube, the only non-benefit is that there are never any upsets in the NBA playoffs since Denver over Seattle. NBA playoffs are so predictable these days. I remember when the Golden State Warriors beat the Mavericks, and it was like, whoa, that was an 8-1. But he's right. Like, nobody wins these. I don't know what you're gaining. Now, if you're a team like, no, I don't want to say that because that'd be counterintuitive. I think if you're a team ascending, like we saw the Magic and the Pistons last year, kind of like this. When they got out of the playoffs, we kind of looked and were like, ooh, there's some real development there. There's some real potential superstars there. Paolo's got to take a step. Cade's got to take a step. And then they could really be something. Guess what? Cade took a step.
Cade took the step.
And Paolo did not. And where are those two franchises right now? You can see that. I don't think the Blazers are in a situation where they see that yet. I don't think we've seen enough from Shaedon and Scoot to say they're ready to take that step. Donovan took a huge step this year, and that's why I'm obsessed with him right now, because the step he made from last year this year is insurmountable. If you think he's going to do that again next year, then you're looking at a top 5 player in the NBA, and I don't think that's where his future is. I think his future is being a less defensive, more offensive Rudy Gobert, kind of more middle ground than Rudy, who's very one-sided. I don't understand the thought of it's let's all feel good. It's kumbaya.
If Donovan can minimize those under 10-point games where he's just not feeling it, doesn't look great, and again, just the numbers don't show as well, he's going to be a bona fide star.
Mm.
If you can say right now that you're going to have Donovan's a star, Tumani's top 5 perimeter defender in the league, Damian Lillard is going to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Denny Avdija running away with things. What else do you need? You have 4 players right there of your starting 5 that you can dominate with.
And
that's scary to look at.
And if you bring back Drew and Jeremy, those are vets. If Shaedon takes the step, look, I'm probably out on Scoot personally. And I think this texter is saying kind of a lot of what you're saying. Sounds like Dundon wants to be a win-now team. We don't need a star. We need a team with good chemistry who can actually put the ball in hoop and play defense on the perimeter. We don't need a dude on the sideline. We need a staff of individuals who buy in on chemistry and defense. I think players want unity over stardom. Unity could what make Portland a desirable place to play. And I think Dundon said that in his press conference about how these are good guys. Like, we get very lucky that there's no Zion, Ja. We'll talk tomorrow about Giannis and Embiid. Like, what's going on in Philly and Milwaukee right now? Oh, my God, I would rather be the Kings and just suck than go through what they're going on right now. Because that is, we have a star and we are cheeks. Because that's when a star can get you sometimes. You can be really awesome and then, feel you're really awesome because you've got a great star, but then absolutely be nothing. Because what are the Bucks right now? What are the Bucks?
Not great.
Not great. Not great. Speaking of not great, let's stick in the city of Portland as the Timbers, well, they fell to Vancouver over the weekend in a not-so-fun way. We'll break all that down next. There's Casey with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This sports update is brought to you by USA Basketball. The 2026 Nike Hoop Summit is coming to the Moda Center on April 11th. Get your tickets at usab.com/tickets. First on the Fan, the NCAA Men's National Championship is officially set as the UConn Huskies will take on the Michigan Wolverines to determine who will walk away with the 2026 National Championship. Michigan comes into the contest as 6.5-point favorites as we are geared up for tip-off just before 6 o'clock. The Women's NCAA National Championship wrapped up yesterday on Easter Sunday as the UCLA Bruins took down the South Carolina Gamecocks 79-51, becoming your 2026 NCAA Women's National Champions. Gabriela Jaquez led the way for the Bruins as she posted 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in the Bruins' first championship in program history. Your Portland Trail Blazers had the weekend off, but are back in action tonight, taking on the Denver Nuggets on the road at 6 p.m. inside Ball Arena, as the Blazers will be without Shaedon Sharpe, Vit Krejci, Damian Lillard, and Jeremy Grant, as Denver comes into the contest as 7.5-point favorites. Your Portland Timbers fell to the Vancouver Whitecaps 3-2 on Saturday night. The Timbers led the Cascadia Cup match until the 91st minute, when a penalty kick from Thomas Mueller tied things up until Vancouver midfielder Sebastian Berhalter put things to bed in extra stoppage time in the 95th minute. Finally, some breaking college basketball news for you as Mike Malone intends to sign as the new head coach at North Carolina. The former Nuggets coach won an NBA championship during the 2022-23 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch.
Web Gems coming up next, everybody's favorite. As we do every single day at 10:45. Look, I try to understand. I see you guys texting in and over on the YouTubes. I really do try to get into the idea of playoff experience being something for the youth, something for see who steps up in the limelight. I understand that. I just, in this case specifically, again, if the Blazers are going to be a 5 seed or a 4 seed or a 6 seed even, I might listen to that conversation a little more. But the gap between the Blazers at 8 and the Thunder at 1, all I'm going to see is that this team is not as good as that team.
The biggest jump is from 8 to 3.
Big time.
When you're seeing, again, the Blazers at 8, the Lakers at 3. The Lakers without Luka and Austin Reeves, maybe.
Sure.
The Lakers with Austin Reeves and Luka.
It's leagues beyond you.
What we're talking about.
It's leagues beyond you. Poor LeBron, by the way. he's Will Smith in Fresh Prince, where he's just like standing in the house looking around. He's like, uh-oh, this ain't good.
No furniture.
No furniture. He's John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, just looking around like, oh, God. Uh-oh, where do I go? The Portland Timbers, okay, 503-864-6326, or over on the YouTubes. The Timbers fall to Vancouver 3-2. And let me tell you this, okay, this might be where I become a massive contradict. I will let you guys decide that. Vancouver, for my money, was the best team in the Western Conference going into this weekend. Now, I think LAFC has something to kind of say about that as they put 6 goals on Orlando. Orlando's also struggling in their own sort of way. They've already fired their coach. They're having their own issues. Vancouver struggled against San Jose last weekend. They had a lot of guys go on the international break, so it kind of looked like an idea of maybe catch while the iron's hot. And that's what the Timbers did. Went into halftime with a 2-1 lead. The Mosquera goal is one of the best goals you're going to see, probably the Timbers goal of the year when it's all said and done, and I'll be curious to see where it ranks in the MLS Pantheon. DaCosta with a really nice little cheeky flip over the keeper to make it 2-1. And look, the stats are not in the Timbers' favor in this game when you look at it. It's really not. 61% possession to 39%. Total shots 22-8. Shots on target 9-3. Corners 7-2. Like, this game was in Vancouver's hands as we expected it to, but the Portland Timbers were able to keep the fight going, and they held on to it until an absolute disastrous 6 minutes at the end of the game.
I'm very frustrated. I can sense Neville's frustration with the calls, but also the Timbers did not have a great offensive second half.
And I think that's where the real situation lies. We can talk about the handball that was called on Anthony. It's a brutal call. I 100% agree. I don't know what Fletcher and Aaron said on the call. I was watching it on TV. It's an absolute brutal call. When your hands are up that high and once they start to go out, it doesn't take much. Also, because the center ref called it a PK, he had to overturn it unequivocally. And so that's brutal. If he doesn't call it a PK, it might not get called a PK in review.
But once you take it to VAR after the call on the field, it makes it pretty damning.
Yeah, you're hosed. And so then I'm thinking, okay, 2-2, probably lucky to grab a point, lucky to sneak out of this.
Against Thomas Mueller kicking a PK.
He's going to make it.
We're not going to expect that this one is that's on the call.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 2-2, still time. Let's make sure that we get out of this clean.
And that's the second part of, I think, what's really, really frustrating. And if you want to hear more about this, Jake Sivan and I will break down this game all tomorrow, Timbers Fan, which you can catch right here, 7 to 8, or wherever you get your podcast, 7 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights. And I talked with Dusty a little bit about this morning. It's like they're now starting to find ways to lose. And when you lose to teams that are better than you, that's one thing. It's kind of like this Blazer-Thunder thing. If the Blazers make the playoffs and they get swept by the Thunder, my mind is not changing about this team. Even if they win a game, my mind's not changing about this team. That's a better team that's more ready to compete. They've got more dudes, etc. Maybe better coaching, better front office, etc. If you lose, the way the Timbers have lost this year, some of them are like, hey, man, you just lost. You should have won that game. And even though it would have shocked the MLS for Portland to go to Vancouver and win that, it's still a game you should have won that you have now lost. And that's now starting to ask questions. Houston was a game that you should have won that you lost, or tied at least, that you lost. And those start to mount up. And to your point, Casey, I don't know what's going on with the offense. They have flipped Anthony and Velda. Anthony's now on the left, Velda on the right. That seems to be increasing more. I thought David DaCosta had his best game so far. Having Mosquera back on the right back, although Brandon Bye, I thought, played really well going into the season.
Had an electric first.
Having Mosquera, you could see that. And I thought Caicedo, the new signing on defensive midfield, also had a really good showing. We're seeing these really good showings from players. Ortiz was good as well, but they're not putting it together. And if you're finding ways to lose games, especially at the end of games, whether it's fair or not, that's when the questions start being asked about coaching, tactics, player like lineup projection, player development, and roster construction. That's, again, whether it's fair to Neville or fair to Grabavoy is beyond the point. If you're losing to teams that are better than you, I can stomach that a little more. Now you're starting to ask questions. And you saw in the press game conference, Phil got asked by all accounts, most people that cover MLS know that she is a fire starter that isn't always fair.
Stirs the pot.
Stirs the pot, most of the time unnecessarily. She asked Neville about his job security. And he did not leave that press conference room without shooting daggers, which also tells me, like, you feel it. And Neville was the first one at the beginning of the year to admit, like, there's a lot of pressure on me this year. I know it. It's year 3. Things got to be better. It's the last year of my deal. I've got to be better. When it comes down to effort, focus, finishing games, a lot of that's on players. But unfortunately, it's always coaches that take the fall. I don't know where I am with Neville, if I'm being honest with you, because I don't know if this loss is on him. But I don't know. I don't know how he is able to pivot the quote unquote blame.
The Houston loss and this loss, they both felt very UConn Duke-esque, where in the final moments, what you have to do is control the ball and make sure that it doesn't end up in the opposition's good feet. And the Houston, the long ball, Brandon Bye just misses it. That's tough. Again, that's a tough play for Brandon Bye.
Yeah, bad day for Brandon Bye. I don't hold it against him. He went for the ball. He slipped.
But now this, the second half was very poor offensively in terms of, again, you could look at the statistics, how many shots the Timbers had on goal in the second half compared to Vancouver. The Timbers just struggled to control the ball. And if you can't control the ball, you're going to throw games away in the final moments.
1 total shot in the second half to 11 by Vancouver.
That's the story.
5 on target by Vancouver, 0 on target by the Portland Timbers. 3 corners for Vancouver, 1 corner for Portland.
And I thought Finn Sermon did a really good job at stepping up and clearing the ball and disrupting inside the box.
I have become a Finn Sermon guy.
That midfield really struggled.
Yeah, and
you got to get it into your offensive feet.
I want to read some of your thoughts. Can you explain the Velda sub? I get we didn't need a goal, but he was the only player that could dribble and hold the ball in Vancouver's half. We watched guys play boot the ball entirety of the match after his sub. I think with Velda, what I love about Velda, and he said this on our Timbers fan show at the very beginning of the season, we had him on, is that there is a lack of kind of vocal leadership on this Timbers team, and he has kind of stepped into that role, and I think you have seen he's played with so much fire and intensity. I also think Aravena's had some really nice play for the Timbers this year. I honestly just think it's fresh legs. It's fresh legs.
I think so too. I think that one was Velda was running around. He was doing most of the control for, I'd say, most of the first half. He was probably the biggest set piece for all of the Timbers offense in the first half. As soon as you get the ball towards him, the defense started rotating. It cleared the backside, and Mosquera was able to do dangerous things with the ball. You really have to rely on a lot more. I know not having Cole Bassett around as consistently does hurt, but you need a lot more from the midfielders.
That's also going to be another question: is where does Cole Bassett fit on this team? You know, I've been a firm believer in him, and I'm all up for it. I'm ready for him to be the face of the midfield in the future going forward. And I love DaCosta as well. But now I'm starting to wonder if we got too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, where does that go as well? This other texter, Timbers attackers up top are total garbage, massive issue. Kevin Kelsey, Gage Guerra, if it's Felipe Mora playing up top, as far as like true dyed-in-the-wool strikers, I think you are missing that. I think what you are excited about is that you have Belda and Anthony that can be creators. You have DaCosta, Aravena, Bassett, whatever combination you're looking for. If Caicedo comes up, Mosquera comes up, etc. Old man Chara as well. If that can do it, we just haven't seen the gel. And I don't know if it's because it's not the same lineup every day, if it's a tactical thing, or what that is. But this other one, has there been a worse 5-game run in Timbers history? I would love to know what makes anyone believe that Phil's the guy. I've seen zero improvement in his time, and the team looks about as inspired now as the team at the end of Gio's run. And I think that's where that's the nail on the head when it comes to Phil, is again, whether it's his fault or not, he's the one that's going to take the hit for that. If players aren't focused, if players aren't efforting,
if frustration has completely crept in.
Mm-hmm. And you're looking at the schedule right now. So I just had it. Sorry about this. It does not get easier. In fact, it gets a lot harder. And dare I say, the hardest stretch of the entire season. You're going to have LAFC, that's right here this weekend. You can catch right here on the Fan. Kick at 1:30. You can catch pregame with Adam Sussman, Aaron Heitzen, and Fletcher Johnson. At 12:30, LAFC just put 6 on Orlando. That's going to be a tough game. Then you're on the road at Minnesota. That could be a wild card. I'm not quite sure where that is. Minnesota's a little weird this year. Then you're going to take on San Diego FC, who's one of the best teams in the Western Conference, on the road. Then you're going to take on Salt Lake, who's the up-and-coming surprise team of the Western Conference this year, on the road. Like, you're looking at going winless and one draw until potentially Kansas City at home on May 9th.
It's a long ways away.
It's a long ways away. So let's maybe not get ahead of ourselves, but buckle up. Buckle up. When we come back, it's Web Gems, everybody's favorite, 105.1 The Fan.
The new home.
All right, this Web Gems, everybody's favorite. We do it every single day at 11:45. Look ahead to the big nooner. We'll get into the Natty tonight. UConn and Michigan. We consider Michigan a blue blood yet? I don't know. They're a weird basketball school. They've had success, but not had success.
They pop up and drop off.
Yeah, they do. Last time they were good was Trey Burke, I think. It's probably the last time they were good.
Yep.
And then we'll also get into this women's college basketball rivalry between coaches. I smell something fishy in there.
Sorry, they did have the Jordan Poole run for.
Oh, that's right. I really only remember Trey Burke. Trey Burke was really good. He was really, really good at Michigan.
Pretty iconic shot.
Plus, maybe the most impressive defensive performance in the history of Major League Baseball happened over the weekend to your Seattle Mariners. Casey, I know you produce the Happy Hour with Luke Anderson, so I know the Mariners are now your team as well. You've been indoctrined. He's fed you the Kool-Aid yet?
I do love me some Mariners.
Dude,
I will always love the Mariners because they paid Robinson Cano when no one else would.
No one else should. I watch Mariner games all the time. If they're at home they're on the West Coast swing, dude, that's my time frame right there. Put the kids to bed on a school night. It's 8 o'clock. I'm watching innings 5 through 9. That's a good time to be alive. It's a good little time to be alive. But Web Gems is brought to you today by, Edmonton, the Oilers. Surprising it's hockey? Well, it's not really hockey. They lost to the Golden Knights at home on Saturday 5-1. But the more important situation is at Rogers Place in the middle of the second period, the broadcast hits you with one of these. And you're like, whoa, what's going on? In the middle of the game? Is OJ running from the law again? Did Timmy fall in the well? What's going on, Lassie? We have word that someone has gone into labor here tonight. There's a baby being born on the 7th floor at Rogers Place as we speak. So someone's going to have a great story to tell. It would be nice to have the mother join us on After Hours to describe what's happened, but that could be asking a bit much. There is in no way, shape, or form, Casey, that this wasn't planned, right? This has to be staged. So you know that your kid was born at an Oilers game, thus making them a lifelong Oilers fan. Until he hates his parents and becomes a Golden Knights fan because they won the game 5-1. They got blown out. Hockey people, man. This is some of the most hockey thing I've ever seen. Look, I love baseball. My wife is not going into labor at a baseball stadium.
That's a little much.
This only happens in hockey.
The timing of it too.
In the second,
if you know that you're about to pop.
They also have they also have ambulances. Why doesn't she just pop in the ambulance and go? Did she start contractions before the game? And then was like, how long can I push this?
That's what I'm starting to feel.
It was a little fishy, huh?
It sounds like, honestly, I might blame the husband on this one.
Throw it the other side? What up, old man?
Do you have to miss the game?
I know.
You can't miss the game that bad.
It's like, coincidentally, I have these walkie-talkies. Here, you take this. I'm going to catch the end of the second period. You let me know if baby's crowning, and I'll be up there. Also, the 7th floor. That's pretty far.
What about the go bag situation?
Is she in, the medical training room where all the players are?
She has to be.
Right?
That's got to be the cleanest facility. Sanitary-wise, is that the place you want to have the baby?
Yeah. Did she have the baby on the same, bed that Connor McDavid was getting his ankle taped up on?
That's what I'm thinking.
You know?
Did a dude just take an ice bath 10 minutes before we were in here?
You grab Tristan Jerry. Is his Tristan Yari? I'm not sure how you say his name. I'm not going to pretend to know. Do you have an extra goalie sweater? Is that what you wrap the baby in?
Lay down a bunch of hockey pads on the floor?
Yeah, how did we do this? It's fascinating. I mean, that's pretty cool, though. It is cool. How many people have you ever met that was born at a stadium?
0. I think that's the one. I think that makes one.
One of one. Congrats to baby mama and all that stuff. Let's get into the big nooner. Ooh, side note. Case, you know what I'm watching on TV right now? I'm watching a Mariner pitcher throw live BP right now, and he's got a bunch of people standing around. Did I say Mariner? I meant Yankee. I'm watching a Yankee pitcher throwing live BP, a bunch of people standing around. Do you know who it is?
I do not.
It's Garrett Cole.
Ooh, look at that.
Garrett Cole. I don't know who's taking live BP, but it'd be nice to have Garrett Cole. Dude, what happened to you guys over the weekend?
Apparently at the game, there was also a puck flew in the stands. No one was hurt. But then a fight broke out.
In the stands?
In the stands. That's just...
Check.
That might just be one of the greatest sporting events to ever be at.
Yeah. Takes the burn off losing 5-1 too, right?
A little bit.
All right, kid. Well, hopefully in 10 years, we'll have you on the show. We'll see if you're the good luck charm for the Oilers, who haven't won a Stanley Cup in a long time. Hopefully you're the good luck charm. Let's get to the big nooner. We got a national championship tonight. UConn, Michigan. Is anybody giving UConn a chance? 105.1 The Fan.
From the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, the NCAA Men's National Championship is set as the UConn Huskies will take on the Michigan Wolverines to determine who will walk away with the 2026 National Championship. Michigan comes into the contest as 6.5-point favorites as we are geared up for tip-off just before 6 o'clock. The Women's NCAA National Championship wrapped up yesterday on Easter Sunday as the UCLA Bruins took down the South Carolina Gamecocks 79-51. becoming your 2026 NCAA Women's National Champions. Gabriela Jaquez led the way for the Bruins as she posted 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in the Bruins' first championship in program history. Your Portland Trailblazers had the weekend off but are back in action tonight, taking on the Denver Nuggets on the road at 6 p.m. inside Ball Arena. Blazers will be without Shaedon Sharpe, Pete Krejci, Damian Lillard, and Jeremy Grant as Denver comes into the contest as 7.5-point favorites. Your Portland Timbers fell to the Vancouver Whitecaps 3-2 on Saturday night. Timbers led in the Cascadia Cup match until the 91st minute when a penalty kick from Thomas Mueller tied things up until Vancouver midfielder Sebastian Berhalter put things to bed in extra stoppage time with a goal in the 95th minute. Finally, some breaking basketball news for you as Mike Malone intends to sign as the new head basketball coach at North Carolina. The former Nuggets head coach won a NBA championship during the 2022-23 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The home of Dirt and Sprague.
All right, 2 down, 1 to go here. The firm of Harris and Meringue. We do this bad boy every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you for being a part of our day. We are stoked to be a part of yours. No Danny Meringue today. He's under the weather, so we wish him well, and hopefully he gets better. I know he's got some Hoops Summit obligations this week, but we're not quite sure what those look like. Hopefully he feels better and joins me for a show tomorrow. If not, it might just be me in lowercase all week. If so, buckle up, friends. Talk Yankees tomorrow for 3 hours if you're not lucky. You'd be so happy to talk Yankees for 3 hours. But some fun things to get into that we're kind of working on the rest of the week. The brand man is going to be at Ducks practice over the weekend or throughout the week, so we'll have him on and kind of take a peek on what's going down there. I just chatted with my good buddy Tyson Alger. We'll chat with him about Timbers and Ducks this week as well. Free consultation, 10 toes down. All that stuff is still here per usual. After us, we will send it over to Duck Insider today from 1 to 2. And then it's the Fan Happy Hour with Joseph Fisher III. Luke is out this week. I believe he is on vacation at his spring break up in our neck of the woods, so I'm sure he's taking his girls somewhere and they're doing something fun. So you'll get Joe Fisher from 2 to 3, and then it's primetime, baby. 3 to 7, Isaac and Suk take you all the way home, finishing up 13 hours of live, local, continuous, regional sports talk radio. I can also inform you that Andy Dirt Johnson will be back in the house tomorrow to bring Dirt and Sprague back the full together. It's been 2 weeks. Look, there is no radio program I listen to more than Dirt and Sprague. I love those guys to death. I think they are so good at their job, and I'm very excited to have Andy back to get the whole fan band together. But that being said, there is one more piece of breaking news here today, my friends. This is something near and dear to our hearts here at The Fan, the Odyssey station, the Fan Sports Network. We are very excited to announce to you our partnership, as we are now the radio homes of your Portland Thorns and the WNBA expansion team, Portland Fire. This is such an exciting moment for us. Look, Odyssey Portland, the Fan Sports Network, we are working on being your one-stop shop for all local sporting events. Look, we have the Timbers, we have the Thorns now, we have the Fire in their expansion season. We have your Oregon Duck football games that you can always check right here. Oregon Ducks basketball, Oregon Ducks baseball, women's and men's basketball. Like, the guys behind the scenes, we like to poke and prod at our overlords in Dusty and Cooley, and those guys are constantly working behind the scene, our wonderful sales staff, to put these things together and make us your home for all your local games. To let you know, all Thorns games will be broadcast on KNRK, our sister station, who sits just on the other side of the wall from us. I believe 10 of those games will be on 910 throughout the year as well. Fire games will all be on 910, with a few of them exclusively on 105.1 The Fan. This is a really cool moment for us here. And to continue, if you haven't noticed, we've been broadcasting the Thorns games for a little bit, but it's exciting to announce our partnership with both of them. So again, it's just, this is how we do it. And we had our client party on Friday, and speaking to our wonderful people that help keep the lights on here. And again, shout out to our sales staff who keep that going as well. To be the main stop in the market as a host here, as one of the quote unquote talents here, I am very blessed and very privileged to work with so many fine people on a station that covers the majority of the sports in a city that I absolutely love. I know Danny has his issues with the city, and I know I don't live here anymore, but I spent a long time in this city. I work in this city. I play in this city. And when I travel, I represent this city as best I can. And I'm just so proud of the team and how hard they've worked to make us number one and keep us number one.
When you think of Portland, now start thinking of it as a sports city.
Yep. And I think nobody does it better than us here at the Fan Sports Network. So that's that. We got it all, baby. Just set and forget. That's called being a P1. You go. Beep, beep, beep. You can now add NRK to the Fan Sports Network. We'll bring our sister in here. She's a dope sister. She's the older sister. She's been around for a long time. She's been pretty damn good at her job, too. I got in my wife's car the other day. She was listening to NRK. I was like, nice, babe. Keep it in the fam. Let's go. Let's go. Speaking of let's go, the granddaddy of them all. Nah, not the Rose Bowl. That'd be cool if the Rose Bowl was today. But the national championship is tonight. It's UConn, Michigan. Michigan going to be heavily favored in this game. I haven't seen the betting line because I don't gamble, but I assume it's probably 8 or so.
6.5.
6.5, okay.
6.5 for Michigan.
Okay, I feel like money must have come in a little bit on UConn because that doesn't seem like that big of a spread for how dominant Michigan has been. And let's jump right into that. Look, Michigan is a wagon. Michigan has been absolutely dominant. No team has scored as many points, won by as many points as they have this far into the tournament. One seeds tend to blow out the early games. Rarely do you see a one seed blow out in the Sweet 16 and blow out in the Elite 8 and blow out in the Final Four, and that's what they have done. Dusty May has got that thing rolling. There are lottery picks across the board. There's youth. There's transfer. There's size. There's guard play. What he has done over there has been absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. That being said, you're walking into royalty now, and that is Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley is absolute royalty when it comes to college basketball right now. His tournament win percentage has now, while not as many games as, say, a Coach K or a Roy Will or a Bill Self, has surpassed all of them with the exception of John Wooden. There's just something about what Danny Hurley has created at UConn that has made things absolutely phenomenal. And that's the key to this tonight, is do they have the juice? You know, Arizona saw the lights. Arizona should not have lost by 30 points. Arizona saw the lights, and it was too big for them. Does Michigan have that problem tonight? I don't want to think so, but I didn't think Arizona was. I was with Charles Barkley. Arizona was my team to win, the whole thing. I thought there was a chance that one of those teams could blow out the other. I truly thought Arizona would either blow out or win in a close game.
This was one of the years where I definitely thought UConn stood no chance. Just because of the talent pool, I didn't think UConn had the roster to do it. Dan Hurley is what is exciting me about this tournament.
It has to be, right? It has to be. What Dan Hurley has done at a program like UConn, which when Jim Calhoun was there, Jim Calhoun's a great coach. He won 2 natties there. It was cool to see at the Final Four all the old UConn studs there. There was Rip Hamilton, Ray Allen. It was cool to see some of that. And, you know, of course, Bill Murray, who for some reason is a UConn fan in a Chicago Cubs hat. I don't understand it, but he's there. And to see what Dan Hurley has built there, I think a lot of people were a little wishy-washy on UConn being a blue blood per se. Calhoun got 2, Kevin Ollie got 1, which is a pretty heavily Calhoun team. But Kevin Ollie left that place in a bad spot. And I think that's kind of where the conversation was, is UConn a blue blood or did they have a run with a good coach? Dan Hurley has solidified that UConn is a top place to play college basketball. Right now, it's UConn, it's Duke, maybe Florida. I don't know if I'm there quite yet. Cal's always going to attract at Arkansas because he's Cal.
Michigan State
because of Izzo. And I'll throw Arizona in there. And look, maybe Michigan. If UConn loses this game, dude, awesome run, bud. Awesome run. Three title games in 4 years. You won 2 of those 3. Again, I've said this profusely. I think UConn is going to be right back here next year. I don't know about Michigan. They're going to lose a lot of guys to the draft. I think UConn's going to be right back here next year because Danny's got this thing churning. He had those comments of he was so worried about the dynasty last year, winning 3 in a row, that it hurt his program. I think he has learned from that. I think he is a rootable villain right now, and I think his team is going to be rolling. The question is if Michigan loses this game, we kind of talked a little bit earlier about this and a little bit in the breaks as well, Casey. I don't know what Michigan basketball is. I know Glenn Rice in 89, the Fab Five, obviously, which is maybe some of the most impactful college basketball in my life. Trey Burke, Jordan Poole. But I don't remember the 89 title. I'm too young for that. I'm 4 years old in 89. And I'm not even 4. I'm 3.
You know I don't remember it.
I know you don't remember it. You don't even get the Fab Five. And the Fab Five was like that. The Fab Five and Michael Jordan in the NBA made basketball this celebrity superstar thing that it is now. The Fab Five, Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, those guys made basketball cool.
And I was born into the generation where Jalen Rose was already on TV and had 81 put on his head.
And that started a little bit with Grandmama, UNLV too. Like they started, Larry Johnson, those guys started to really make basketball cool. But outside of that, Michigan, I don't know if I would count them a blue blood. Danny loves that they invest as much in football and basketball, and that makes them a little kind of in the upper echelon. I would throw Alabama in that conversation as well, because they definitely care about basketball, as they just inked Nate Oates to a big deal down there as well. I think the pressure's on Michigan in this game. I will take Michigan to win it, but I think the pressure's on them to do it. Is Yaxel going to play? Is Cadeau a better shooting night than he was in the Final Four? Or do they just steamroll UConn? Because if UConn wins, buddy, look out. Look out. The amount of love and admiration coming in, they'll start talking, is Dan Hurley the greatest coach of all time? I don't think that's the answer. Sans Wooden's a different time, but there'll be people that'll say he's better than K. There'll people say he's better than Boeheim, better than Roy Will, Jay Wright, Billy Donovan, etc. I think the pressure's all on Michigan, and if UConn can catch that, and if Caravan can have himself his senior moment, they can do this. That being said, I'll take Michigan.
If I want to get lost in the moment, I'm taking UConn.
Yes.
And the tournament does that to you.
If I get in my feels,
it gets you lost in the minutia of it all, gets you kind of already writing the story, already seeing the documentary unfold in itself. Michigan, all they have to do is play good basketball. That's
all they got to do.
Really good team.
They kind of only just have to roll the ball out there and play.
They just got to play good basketball.
Mm-hmm. They don't have to be great.
They don't have to be great by any stretch of the. We all were in the conversation last week where the Final Four matchup, the Michigan-Arizona matchup, was a precursor to the national championship. Mm-hmm. Well, we saw the dominating force of what Michigan unfolded there.
It's pretty rad. Catch that game.
They can, again, it'll be easy.
It'll be easy, yeah. That tip, I believe, is at 5:40 tonight. So catch that game. That's what we've learned today also, that all the Your Portland Thorns games will be on KNRK HD2, the Odyssey app, and the Portland Fire. Their new home is 910 ESPN Portland. It's going to be so cool to follow the Fire in their inaugural season. I remember the Timbers when they first came to the MLS, but they were in the USL before, so it was kind of more of just like a jump. And then 3 years later, we won a cup. So we'll see how the Fire do, and we'll see if the Thorns continue rolling with their momentum. When we come back, let's get into this women's side, okay? Games, no so much. Coaches? Ooh, you want to fight? You want to fight?
Posey decked him!
I thought Don Staley was going to do that to Gina. We'll get to that next. I'm Patrick. That's Casey, 105.1 The Fan. Take a sneak peek over at baseballs. We might have had the greatest defensive performance in one single game in the history. And whenever you say stuff like that with baseball, but you better not be messing around. No joking. A lot of fine history, a lot of sacrilegious things you could say, a lot of folklore, a lot of made-up stuff that sounds real, and a lot of real stuff that sounds made up. Like I once heard a story that Ty Cobb was late getting to Tiger Stadium, and so he cut through a back alley where he was mugged by a guy with a knife. Ty Cobb de-knifed the guy, took it, and stabbed him. And then went to the ballpark and went 5-5. Like, I think that's a real story.
Have you heard the Ty Cobb little person story?
No.
Ty Cobb used to, I believe, travel around with a little person by the name of Lil Rastus.
Okay.
Who was a 10-year-old black orphan who gave Ty Cobb good luck.
Oh, okay. That's strange for a man who doesn't like black people. That was historically very much noted that Ty Cobb was not down with that. Interesting. Weird people in baseball. Well, we'll get to Joe Adele here in a little bit. But, you know, Danny and I have talked about this a lot, and I talk about this with my friends and off the airs. We just got excited that, you know, we're here to have the Portland Fire on 910 for a majority of this season. Sometimes you can catch some games on some of our other stations too. To have them and supporting women's sports, and I think women's sports in this city do really, really well. Looking at you, the Thorns, who a couple trophies up there and many, many playoff runs and great players that have come through the doors here. Women's basketball, collegiately, is in a spot right now that I don't think it's ever been. I think it's the healthiest the game has ever been, and it's got more eyeballs in it. There's more star power.
A lot of juice.
A lot of juice. We're starting to know names a little better. They're marketing it a lot better. Some kids are probably making more in college than they will in the WNBA, and we'll see how that gets fixed out. This year's tournament was a little bit of a drag for me. I find it really difficult when I look at Final Four scores, Elite Eight scores, National Championship scores, and games aren't really close. But the women's game can be very top-heavy, as UCLA defeats South Carolina for their first national championship in school history, 79-51. That's a 30-point ass whooping. And so it's hard for me to kind of get behind that. Now, congratulations to Corey Close and everything that's going on over UCLA. And this is what Dawn Staley, the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, their women's team. I'm always happy for people that worked hard in this game, who are really quality people. I want good things to happen to them. Corey is one of those people who really works at making our game better, not just UCLA, but our entire game. Now, Dawn Staley is a 2-time AP Coach of the Year. She's got some natties up in them things. Why is she saying this stuff? Well, that's because in her matchup against UConn in the Final Four, Gino Auriemma, the head coach of the women's UConn Huskies, kind of stepped in it a little bit as he needs his pregame hug from Dawn Staley, and he kind of does this little weird jig out there to like coax her to do it. It's real cringy, if you ask me. And then after the game, as he proceeded to get his ass whooped, chose not to shake hands with Dawn and had some pretty disparaging comments about that, to where Dawn Staley says, "Bring it. I'll take that smoke and I'll whoop you." I don't know if Dawn Staley's a woman you really want to mess with. And Gino tried to sit there and stand on his laurels of like, you know how many Final Fours I got? You know how many natties I got? And it's like, I get it, man. But that doesn't mean you can be a jerk.
He stood on it for all of about 15 minutes.
Yeah. And like, I remember, look, rivalries with coaches are good for college basketball, good for college sports. Like, I loved Ryan Day and Harbaugh not liking each other. I'm in on that stuff. I hated Jimmy Lake at UW because he said some things as a defensive coordinator and as a head coach that I was like, you gonna die, man.
Again, the Liam Cohen, Robert Sullivan.
Yeah.
Kind of juiced on Liam Cohen.
And that stuff's really great. Gino feeling the need to come after Dawn is a little strange to me because there's twofold. One, Gino, you don't have to do it. Your program's just fine. You just won a natty. You're gonna be competing for them again. But also, I remember when Gino and Pat Summitt got into these battles, and there was not a lot of love lost between those two, but there was still respect. And I just hope this isn't a situation in which Pat Summitt looks one way and Dawn Staley looks another. That's what I really hope is not going on right here, because Dawn Staley can be a fiery, fiery woman. She is a passionate coach and has built that program, and she has become, to your point, the GOAT. We're laughing on the YouTube chat right now. Rufio said he'd rather get beat up by Suk than Dawn Staley. And that's the kind of respect that gets put on her name.
Suk might pull some punches.
Suk might lay up on me to where I don't think Dawn Staley is gonna stop. And I just think it's a bad look for Gino, who has done such a great thing for women's college basketball, to just take his frustration out on her for no reason.
I think a little bit has to do with ego, because I think when you think of women's college basketball, there's 3 coaches that you think about, not including Pat Summitt. Right now, you think of Dawn Staley, you think of Gino and the success that UConn is having as a program, and you think of Kim Mulkey.
Mm-hmm.
When you're competing with those and those egos start to get intertwined, I think someone's going to feel like someone's taking shots, and someone's going to take shots.
It's hard to own the mountain and then have to share the mountain.
Exactly.
And Gino is finding out that he has to share the mountain, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, that's probably the best thing about NIL and today's recruiting world, is that it's leveled the playing field a little bit, and it's not Saban winning titles every year. It's not Gino winning titles every year. It's not whether it's Kay Shire at Duke winning titles every year, even though Shire hasn't got there, I know. But you have to spread the pie. And if you're Gino, who is like, what do you say, been to 24 Final Fours? That is a amazing accomplishment, bro. That is GOAT levels. No one is going to touch that. Dawn Staley could coach for another 20 years, and she won't be at that level. That's why it comes across so petty. That's why it's like, dude, like, Dawn is great, and she's good for the sport, and she's made you better too. To be that pissed off because you got blown out, bro, that's on you.
Lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep.
Exactly.
And Dawn Staley felt like the lion in that interaction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Gino felt like the king who is starting to slow down and is about to get fought for his throne. Congratulations to UCLA. Thanks to Dawn Staley for taking the high road. Gino, you can come back from this. You better fix it. They're going to play each other in Connecticut. I think it's like November something. So we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm sure Dawn will be there and she'll be all smiles. And ball's in your court, Gino. What you want to do, how you want to play this. That's up to you, not to me. There's Casey with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Mountaintop Metal Roofing. No maintenance, energy efficient, fire resistant, and a lifetime warranty. Do it once, do it right. Visit mountaintopmetalroofing.com. First on the Fan, the NCAA Men's National Championship is officially set, as the UConn Huskies will take on the Michigan Wolverines to determine who will walk away with the 2026 National Championship. Michigan comes into the contest as 6.5-point favorites, as we are geared up for tip-off just before 6 o'clock. The Women's NCAA National Championship wrapped up yesterday on Easter Sunday as the UCLA Bruins took down the South Carolina Gamecocks 79-51, becoming your 2026 NCAA Women's National Champions, as Gabriela Jaquez led the way for the Bruins as she posted 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in the Bruins' first championship in program history. Your Portland Trailblazers had the weekend off but are back in action tonight, taking on the Denver Nuggets on the road at 6 p.m. inside Ball Arena. Blazers will be without Shaedon Sharpe, Vit Krejci, Damian Lillard, and Jeremy Grant as Denver comes into the contest as 7.5-point favorites. Your Portland Timbers fell to the Vancouver Whitecaps 3-2 on Saturday night. Timbers led in the Cascadia Cup match until the 91st minute, when a penalty kick from Thomas Mueller tied things up until Vancouver midfielder Sebastian Berhalter put things to bed in extra stoppage time with a goal in the 95th minute. Finally, some breaking college basketball news for you, as Mike Malone is signing as the new head basketball coach at North Carolina. The former Nuggets head coach won the NBA championship during the 2022-23 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the Fan Happy Hour.
Closing arguments coming up next to send you on your way. We'll slide over into some Major League Baseball. Let's talk about Jo Adell for a second here as the player. Now, Jo Adell was a highly touted prospect in the Angels organization. He's not quite lived up to it. Last year, he kind of had some pop in his idea, enough that I took a flyer on him in my fantasy league this year. We'll see. That doesn't really mean anything because I suck at fantasy. But he should be a bright spot on an otherwise poorly run Angels organization. We're not quite sure what Jo is good at and what Joe's not good at quite yet. Well, we'll see. He's still a very young player. But he had a hell of a day on Saturday, playing the Seattle Mariners at night. This is the call from, let's see, what's his name? Wayne Randazzo of Angels TV. This is a little collaboration of the 3 things that Jo Adell did on Saturday.
No balls and 1 strike. Here's a drive out to right from Raleigh. Adell's back near the wall. He leaps, and he caught it! Jo Adell robs Raleigh of what would have been his first home run this year. There's a drive to right. Adell is back. He's at the wall. He leaps up. He got another one! Wow. Jo Adell, what a night! Now here's Crawford with a fly ball to right toward the corner. It's Jo Adell again near the foul pole. Leaping up! Did he catch it again? He fell into the crowd, so it's a home run. They called him out. He did it again.
Seattle is challenging the decision of the catch.
Jo Adell, who has already robbed 2 home runs tonight, could very well have the hat trick. And this was the most sprawling of all of them.
After review, the call on the field is confirmed. It is a catch.
Jo Adell with his 3rd home run robbery tonight. I've never seen anything like it.
If you haven't seen these, they're all bona fide steals. The 3rd one, there's like a short porch over there in right field, and it was J.P. Crawford on the last one, I believe.
Yep.
That thing is hooking around the pole, and it's gone. It's over the fence, gone. And Jo just reaches out, snags that sumbitch, falls to the ground, gets up, and there's a fan. I don't know. Have you seen the picture?
The photo
of right behind Jo Adell, and he's holding his mitt up, and you see the back of his jersey, and it just says Adell. It is like
magnificent.
If I'm Jo Adell, that sucker is getting blown up in my house.
That's getting oil painted.
And sometimes that's just how it goes. That's just baseball, baby. And you're the right place at the right time. And boy, if you're the Mariners, that's frustrating because they lost that game. And that's they're having a little bit of a frustrating start. And when you start losing that way, buddy, this is kind of what we're talking about when it comes to the Timbers a little bit. Like, I don't think the Mariners are there because we're a long way away from this thing. But, like, you start finding ways to lose. Jo Adell robbed 3 home runs from you?
Them's the breaks.
I don't know if I've ever seen a defensive performance like that. You know, there's always, like, there's the famous Bo Jackson runs up the wall. Griffey breaking his wrist against the wall.
Torrey Hunter.
The Jim Edmonds falling down catch.
Adam Jones had a few.
Willie, of course, the Willie Mays basket. Andrew Jones as well had some great ones. Adam Jones World Baseball Classic, that's the famous one as well. I don't know how you beat this one.
I don't think you can.
I don't know if you can either.
I think it's the fact that was the difference between the win and the loss. You can't. That was the game.
Yeah, it's truly an MVP sort of situation. How much baseball are you watching right now?
Good amount. Yankees off and on.
Sure. What if I told you the Miami Marlins are in first place?
I would believe you.
They're actually kind of good.
They're not playing bad.
They're not playing bad. Some news in baseball. Juan Soto just went on the DL. That's stinky poo for him. The Boston Red Sox suck. They suck really bad.
Yes, they do.
They suck really, really bad. Guess who doesn't suck really, really bad? The Chicago White Sox. That Murakami kid?
Mooney Moonshot.
Hits dingers. What else is going on? The Twins are going to be bad, and judging by their attendance when I watch highlights of their games, oh boy, it's not a bueno there. It's not a bueno there at all. I don't know what's going on in Chicago right now for the Cubbies. Alex Bregman Having a rough go so far. I accidentally sat him on a doubleheader this weekend on my fantasy team, and he went 1 for 6. No, 0 for 6. I was like, shucks. Shucks, stinky poo. We're going to have a conversation tomorrow about the San Francisco Giants. That is a really, really bad team.
I'm for it.
That is a really, really bad team. And as I said at the top of the show, just going to give a shout out to my Cleveland Guardians. Okay, split the series with the Mariners, took 2 of 3 against the Dodgers. Bob owes me a beer because they took 2 of 3 from the Cubbies. Chase DeLauder, don't mess with the kid. You want the smoke? Cuyahoga River's on fire again, baby. But this time it's winning baseball games as the Cleveland Guardians are 6-4. I don't know, man, dude. It's so early. It's
way too early. This is why I'm saying I got to temper myself to these Yankee games because come October, I'm going to be a madman.
My streak broke. I lost the Guardian streak. Friday, we had the client party. I did not watch any innings of the Cleveland game because I think first pitch was at 1.
Oh, yeah.
And I just was hanging out with our homies.
So I broke
that. So that stinks. That stinks. But we'll survive. We will carry on. Somehow we will manage. Eric texting in, I thought it was a home run because he landed over the wall. I'm pretty sure if you catch it, you can go over the wall. You just have to catch it. Remember Jeets, the foul ball? He was in the stands. They counted as catch.
And I believe it's once he catches it, as long as his body is still in play, and his hip was touching that wall.
Oh, okay. So if he, jumped the wall, that wouldn't count.
If he cleared the wall completely,
and then stood there and caught it? Oh, okay.
But because his hip was touching the fence while that ball went to his glove.
All right. My kids went to the park the other day to play baseball. Unsolicited. I didn't say anything to them. I had to order new wiffle balls because they hit one in the neighbor's yard. And then they went over to the neighbors and left a little ring cam video to try to get it back. I don't know if they got it back.
Those are good problems.
Those are good problems to have.
Those are real good problems.
That made me feel like a proud papa right there.
The sun is out. Those are good problems.
Yeah. Catch the fever, my friends. Catch the fever.
Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!
When we come back, closing arguments to send you on your way. This is Portland Sports Leader 105.1 The Fan.
It's time for Easy Play, brought to you by Home Z, making home improvement easy.
Doesn't get by the first man, White, who heads it out of the box. Collected by Anthony. Back out to Velda. Velda chance to serve it again. Instead, we'll play down the line for Anthony. Anthony plays it across, and it's dealt with by Burhooks on top of the box, and a goal! Juan David Mosquera scores in his season debut! What a goal from outside the box, and we're level in the 36th.
I heard right here on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 The Fan, the home of your Portland Timbers. That's Fletcher Johnson on the call. Juan Mosquera with maybe the goal of the season for the MLS. Definitely the goal of the season for the Timbers so far. We'll see how that stacks out. Despite that amazing goal and DaCosta's little chippy goal, Timbers do fall to Vancouver 3-2. They'll pick back up against LAFC on Saturday. Pregame at 12:30 right here. Kick at 1:30. This Easy Play brought to you by Homesy. Use Homesy's online calculator to estimate your project instantly. Make it easy. Call Homesy. That's Homze. Homesy.com.
We just finished.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Closing Arguments brought to you by Leskin Law. Visit leskinlaw.com for more information. Coming up on the program tomorrow, hopefully Danny's feeling better. He can come in here. We'll have a free consultation Tuesday, as we always do. We'll get to that at 12:15. We'll obviously talk about the basketball game tonight, being the Blazers and the national championship in college. Take a peek at Michigan and UConn going forward as well a little bit. Plus some superstar treatment in the NBA that has superstars mad and saying that owners are wrong and owners saying superstars are wrong, including somebody that could find their way here to Portland. Catch you up on some news around the sports world right now. Hey, Mike Malone at UNC. Pay no attention to the fact that the Chicago Bulls have fired their executive vice president of basketball operations, Arturas Karnisovas, and their general manager, Mark Eversley. Those were something that I heard from a Mr. Danny Morang, that Billy Donovan would be open to staying at Chicago if those guys go, because there's a good chance they can land a Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, A.J. DeBonsa type player in the draft. So I wonder if Billy Donovan did use that leverage a little bit to kind of get his way and clean house over in Chicago.
Not bad. Not bad for them.
Not bad, not bad. I wonder if this kind of means that Billy Donovan will stay in the NBA. If he has that kind of power over a Bulls organization that's run really poorly by the Reinsdorf family, if he's got that kind of say, like, why would you leave the NBA? Like, he doesn't really get fired, and his teams aren't very good. Not to his fault, but they're just not very good. They're 29-49 this year again. That's the kind of power you got, you know. They got 35 guards. I'm sure they're going to clean house too. But I don't know how good they'll be next year, but kudos to Billy Donovan. You're getting the regime change you want. Angel Reese traded to the Dream for 2 first-rounders. Is this we got good ROI, or is this I'm done with Angel Reese and her shenanigans?
I think it's column A, column B. If I can get Angel Reese for 2 first-rounders, sweet deal.
Bleak telling me Atlanta got fleeced in that trade.
A little bit. 2 first-rounders is 2 first-rounders, but
yeah, is Angel Reese that great of a player? I don't know. I don't watch the league enough.
You're going to get a lot of people that show up to your games now.
That is true. I'll definitely be listening to the Atlanta game if they're on the schedule here, right here on the Fan Sports Network, where you can catch all Portland Fire games. That's cool news of the day. Juan Soto hits the IL. He's expected to be out 2 to 3 weeks. He's had a barnstorming start to the season too, which sucks to see him down for the count a little bit. We'll have day baseball on today at 1 from Tropicana Field with a roof on it. I don't know why they put the roof on. They should have just made it an open-air stadium. That'd have been cool. Why not? You're in Florida. I'm surprised it's a dome in the first place. Is it just because it's so GD hot down there sometimes? Like muggy and gross?
I bet it's also because of the rain.
Yeah. Miami's, they're a dome as well.
Got to keep that grass as clean as you can.
As best as you can go. I believe one of my good buddies who does like a baseball trip every year at the beginning of the season, goes around to different stadiums. He's from Tampa. He's a diehard Rays fan. I believe he was at that Mariners-Angels game on Saturday. He's been sending our my baseball buddy group chat pictures. Dude, he was like right there at the fence. There's Roman Anthony batting practice at Fenway. He was right behind home plate with Mizorowski on the bump in Milwaukee, and then I believe he stopped in Anaheim for a couple Angels games.
That's a great little run right there.
That is.
That's a great run.
He caught his Rays in Milwaukee. I think his goal is to see the Rays play at every stadium in Major League Baseball. He went to a West Sacramento game last year. I'm jealous of that. I kind of really want to go down there and see a game before they leave, just to say that I saw a game down there. Also, I don't really know if I want to go to West Sacramento. I don't really know.
That's where I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't really know what. Yeah. Is there a lot of cool stuff around the stadium?
Do the A's attract you that much as a team?
You know, I kind of like this A's team this year.
I do too, but
they locked in a lot of their dudes, but no.
Sacramento.
I'd rather go to Oakland, that's for sure.
For sure.
For sure, I'd rather go to Oakland. What else we got going on here? What else do we got going on now?
We're a week away from the WNBA draft.
Okay.
College draft.
Who is the top prospect in the draft this year?
I believe, is it Fudd? Ozzy? I could be just butchering this name. AZ Fudd?
I've got a mock draft in front of me right here. 2026 mock draft has number 1 to Dallas being Awa Fam. She's a 19-year-old from Spain.
Again, I knew I had the name wrong.
Olivia Miles to Minnesota. Ozzy Fudd from UConn to the Seattle Storm.
I thought she was going to go first overall.
Let's see here. Let's scroll down to the Portland Fire, taking Nell Angloma, a forward from France. That's not going to get people excited. I don't think that's going to get people excited.
Where's Flau'jae projected to go?
Flau'jae
Johnson, LSU.
Flau'jae Johnson. Let's see here. 9 to the Mystics, DC.
Okay. I bet a bigger market will probably pick her up.
A couple UCLA kids here in the top 6 here. I'm seeing, let's see. 1, the Lauren Betts at 4. Kiki Rice at 5. And Gianna Neepkins at 8. Okay, good for them. Nice little program. Ooh, here's another guard, that Jaquez girl. She's at 12 to Connecticut, soon to be the Houston. Dang, dude, there's another one here at 14. They're sending their whole starting 5 to the draft. Dang. Whole starting 5 to the draft, huh? Top 12?
That ain't bad.
Or top 14, excuse me, is your entire star 5 treatment? Wow.
That was the Iowa treatment that Iowa got last year, wasn't it?
Couldn't tell you. Have no idea. Have absolutely no idea. It is Masters Week, too. I'm very excited about Masters Week. Something Andy Dirt Johnson and I always like to get to giggle about. He's always so surprised that I am a casual golf watcher, but I also really enjoy it. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if it's because I got the patience. Like, I watch baseball and I watch soccer, and I have the patience for quote-unquote slow-moving sporting events. I don't know, man. I think what helps for me, especially with the Masters, is that I know all these holes. You know, I've been watching it for so long that I know exactly. I mean, I don't golf, so I don't know exactly, but geographically, I know what's going on.
I'm used to the camera angles.
And I think the coverage they do, like, you can choose what holes you want to watch, you can choose feature groups, etc. I think they do it really, really well. I think they do it really, really well. Who's going to win this year? I got no idea. I got no idea who's going to do that. But thanks for being a part of the show today, Casey. Thank you for your help as always. Again, hopefully Dan will be healthy tomorrow and he'll come back. If not, you'll just get us 2 idiots again. We'll have a good time, I promise. For Casey Smith, I'm Patrick Harris. Go do something I would do.